Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the first City Council meeting of the year of 2016. Happy New Year to everybody. Hope you had wonderful holidays, and we're excited to have you in our council chambers to get this business meeting of the year started. So great. It's still going to be okay this year, so keep your heads up high and keep smiles on and be optimistic. With that said, we'll say a prayer. Invocation by Reverend Pat Bryant, Travis Baptist Church. Please stand.
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we come to you this morning just thanking you for all your many blessings. We ask your blessings upon each one that's here today, God. We ask blessings upon our mayor and each council member, Father. And we just ask, Father, that all things that are said and thought and done today, God, will be pleasing to you. In Jesus' name we ask it, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Great. Thank you, Reverend. Have a good day. Crime Stoppers. Do we have anyone from Crime Stoppers here today? All right. Good morning. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Good to see you again. We all know Crime Stoppers. It's Crime Stoppers Month, so let me read this proclamation. Whereas Crime Stoppers is an international organization consisting of more than 1,700 programs in 27 countries and every state in the United States, all of which form a network dedicated to solving crimes in each local jurisdiction. January 2016 marks the 32nd anniversary of Crime Stoppers of Midland, Inc., serving their community in law enforcement. This community-based nonprofit organization, operating primarily on the private sector donations, has helped law enforcement arrest 7,985 suspects, recovered $2,143,361 in property, seized $6,052,426 in narcotics, and has paid $471,000 in rewards since its inception of January '84. Crime Stoppers works with the law enforcement agencies in all jurisdictions, the news media, and citizens of all walks of life. The City of Midland has participated in Crime Stoppers since 1984, and whereas Crime Stoppers deserves praise, commendation, and support, so now therefore I, Jerry F. Rouse, the Mayor of the City of Midland, do hereby proclaim January 2016 as Crime Stoppers Month, and thank you for all that you do in our community. You got to say it before so you know that, right? Tell us about Crime Stoppers, and who do we have today?
I'm Angie Valenzuela. I'm the Executive Director of Midland Crime Stoppers. And, you know, we can't do what we do without our community leaders' support and our community and law enforcement. And so together, we work together to try to keep Midland safe. And so we appreciate this acknowledgement and recognition.
Sure.
I'm Sandy Melton. I'm the board vice president.
David Colburn, Chief of the School District Police Department, and we're very happy to be part of this organization. And we solve a lot of narcotics crimes in the school district based on Crime Stoppers tips. And we're very, very happy to be part of it.
Thank you for all you do. Big round of applause for this. Wish you much success this year. Thank you very much. Take care. This is the public comment period. Receive public comments where individuals may address the City Council on city-related issues and projects. Any deliberation of or decision by the City Council regarding the item being discussed shall be limited to a motion to place the item on the agenda for a subsequent meeting. Please limit comments to 3 minutes or less. Good morning and welcome. Please give us your name and address.
Good morning. I'm Willie Barber at 1305 Chestnut. Mr. Mayor and fellow council members, and to Courtney Short, our city manager, and his team. First of all, I want to just thank you for the good job and the dedication and the services that you guys are providing for our city. And I wasn't here for a lot of the texting and driving city laws that you passed, but I want to thank you. And I did talk to some of the members about that because people in our population We really appreciate that service. But what I'm here today for is to try to encourage you, continue to encourage you for your leadership and guidance on the bond that's, I think you can have it at the last thing there on the agenda. So just in case I'm not here, I just want to say a little bit about it. I was very skeptical about some parts of that at first until I had a little talk with my girlfriend, and my girlfriend was telling me, she was giving me some facts about it. And after she started talking to me and telling me about it, I think you guys did a real good job on that bond, and I'm in support for it, for everything on that bond. I think it's going to take us into the next generation, and she continued to talk to me. She was telling me about some facts to back up some of that stuff. And she was talking about our Lieutenant Governor of our state, Dan Patrick, and he was talking about how good our state is still growing, more people coming in and leaving, the economy is booming, still booming. And then she told me about our U.S. representative, Michael Conaway, just a couple of weeks ago, was talking about our European allies are saying, hey, we don't want to depend on the Middle East no more. We're going to get some of that oil from United States. And then when we came here locally, our school district, under the leadership of Dr. Warren, they built some new schools out there. People was fussing about that at first, and those schools are just about overflowing. And so up under his leadership, we're growing. And Courtney Short, I think if we come to another major part, we look at our city, we still need some people to work here, and the hospital district. And when I ride our famous transportation, public transportation, Easy Rider, the driver tells me, hey, we still got wanted signs for jobs. And I talked to a member on the board of Realtor, and they said that, you know what, people not leaving Midland, but they buying and we still selling and things are still booming here. So I think, I'm saying this to say to you, Mr. Mayor, that you guys are doing a good job. And the leadership that you guys are providing, that we don't have to depend on oil anymore. Oil is just the cream on the crop, that we are diversified, and that the items that you put on that bond, when I looked through it, it was talking about our police department and our fire department, how we're providing funds to keep us safe in our community, and highways and byways and roads and stuff that we really need. We help fill some of these potholes. And even some parts in there was talking about keeping the quality of our life still going here. Our parks, Russell Park, is beautiful for us there, and down to Dennis Menace and Hogan Park and Washington Park. I think that those are keeping, because as I was talking to my girlfriend, Charlotte, you like this, she was telling me, she was saying that Midland is a family community. 55% of the people in Midland are married. Our average household is 2.7. I guess that other percent, I was going to say 3%, that those beautiful loved ones is in the process of being developed. And I think that, and they're saying that we have about 52% of our population is female. So Charlotte, I do appreciate you up there, because you're really fighting a good battle. And so to say, Mr. Mayor, that you guys are doing a good job. I think all parts of that bond, and I'm in support for that bond and stuff, because we're on stable ground. Every year I get a headache when I think about the IRS and I think about our tax appraisal and stuff on that. I do, it gives me a headache. But when I think about the funds that you guys are doing and what y'all are doing with that money, that is doing great. And this bond, it's not too much based on oil. It's based on the leadership that you guys have provided. We have diversified enough in this city where I see all of these want-ads in the medical field, the little businesses still got the want-ads on there, and even out there at Easy Rider. We still need some people out there to help us go on. So, Mr. Mayor, I'm in support for this bond, and I want you guys to really I think that you guys did a great job.
Great.
And before I leave, I know I don't went over time, I do want to give y'all some bus passes so that you can ride our bus system. Okay?
Thank you. Mr. Barber, thank you for your time this morning. Thank you for getting 2016 off to the right foot and those positive words, and we really appreciate your outlook on Midland. So thank you for being here. Public comment period is still open. Anyone else wishing to speak? Please. Yes, sir. Good morning.
Mr. Mayor, good morning. Good morning. I saw in last Sunday's Midland Reporter telegram that you said the amount of... Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
My name is James Fidel. My address is 4700 Boulder, apartment 1015, Midland, 79707.
Thank you.
I saw in last Sunday's Midland Reporter telegram that you made the comment that there might be a change in the amount of parking, public parking for the Santa Rita Hotel project.
Okay.
If so, Mr. Mayor, will there probably be more public parking than originally planned, or less public parking?
So the comments were on a radio station, and basically the question that was asked to me was, is Santa Rita moving forward, and what are they anticipating? And then, so my comment was, at this time, we don't really know specifically what's going on with the project, so we're waiting for an actual review of the plans. And I think maybe what came out of there is we would have public parking, and of course, we would always be encouraging more public parking downtown.
So if there's a change in the public parking, it would probably be more for more parking?
If we can afford it. It's going to be based on monies, of course. So there's still a lot of discussion that needs to take place, and so it's really hard for me to answer anything concrete today.
Right.
We are adding 225 spots next to the Hilton.
That is true. Yeah.
I know that they're still trying to remove all of the debris from the block.
Yes.
And so it looks like there may be a little delay in getting all of the debris removed.
That's running on schedule.
The demolition portion is running on schedule.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Because I saw a few months ago where they said they was hoping to break ground on the hotel February the 2nd or February the 3rd or something like that, but
No.
I don't think so. It's ever been there.
And,
no.
and again, I don't want to say too
That
much
was in the
yet.
newspaper a few months ago.
Yeah.
We really can't
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah, I've got to be careful legally what we say up here. So,
One more question. Do you think the project will start this year?
so what will let me?
Mayor, we might need to stop. This is
Yeah.
not
So what? Go ahead,
These
John.
questions might be better addressed in an email. Legally, we're not supposed to respond or have a
Oh,
Q&A
okay.
here
Yeah.
because, well, for a lot of reasons, but maybe a better way to go
I
about it.
want to be courteous, but I got to be careful. We got to be careful.
I understand.
Yeah, we could be involved here all day if we took Q&A and if you understand.
Texas law doesn't allow us to do that during public comment period since it's not posted on the agenda.
Well, I understand. Thank you very much.
So please, we got your information. We'll reach out to you.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes. Public comment period still open. Anyone else wishing to speak? Okay, we'll close.
Yeah, I've got a quick thing to
Yes.
say if I could add. I'll be very brief. If the chief and Detective Alonso would mind coming up for just 1 minute, I've got a quick story to share that I think everybody here would appreciate. In November of 2010, I had a bow and arrow stolen from my house here in Midland. Called the chief, filed a police report, the whole deal. This bow surfaced just a few months ago, right before Christmas break, but I wanted to commend the chief and the detective for the fine work, and there I am with the final police report and stolen item recovered from the police station. So anyway, chief, thank you very much. Detective, thanks for the fine work, and great job. Keep up the good work.
Good job. Very good. Thanks, Councilman. Okay, thank you. We're closing the public comment period. This is consent agenda item 5 through 20. Council? 14? 6? 15. 15? Have 6, 14, 15? Any others? That's it. All right, good. I have a motion and a second to approve 6, 14, excluding 6, 14, and 15. Any discussion? Yes, please vote. Item 6, consider a resolution awarding a contract for the Scarborough Sports Complex improvements project to Midtex of Midland Incorporated in the amount of $2,100,000 and approving $260,056 for contingencies. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I pulled this item this morning because I know the staff recommended to keep this particular item under budget, and I know the two sports fields that we wanted to put turf on, they're recommending to put sod on because we guessed wrong on the number, basically. And so my recommendation is this morning that we do it right out there at the sports complex. We've got, after we pay off the sports complex, we'll have a little over $12 million still left in the 4B fund that'll go to the unappropriated fund balance. And really, at the end of the day, when you look at, you know, having to put water on a couple of fields and just the extra maintenance costs that you have out there as a result of having sod. You talk to the football coaches, and I'm talking to high school coaches. The school doesn't water the fields enough now. They've got all kinds of broken bones as opposed to twisted knees. And really, I think that the sports complex deserves something that's going to be really nice. It'll be good-looking championship facilities. And since we have a little over $12 million that'll be left in the 4A that will go, or the 4B that will go into the unappropriated fund balance after the sports complex is paid off, I'm recommending that we turf those fields and we spend the extra $725,000 to do that.
And I would have to agree with Councilman Dufford. I mean, if we're going to move forward with this project, and the plan in the future would be to come back and take those grass fields and turn them into artificial turf, well, why wouldn't you do it right the first time? Especially when you put player safety into consideration. And I don't know if anyone in this audience has ever had to fall on a patch of stickers playing football. It's not very pleasant. And so with artificial turf, you don't have that. Plus, you've got the padding in place. It doesn't require the water, the maintenance. Yes, there is a replacement issue with these fields, but it won't be near as frequent as the sports complex major football field because the play won't be as much on it. And so I think this is, to do it right, we need to move forward, put all four of them in artificial turf. And like I said, you know, Councilman Duffer said it great. We need to really put something showcase out there, and this is yet just another example of how the 4B increases the quality of life for our children and for our community. And so I wholeheartedly support adding the extra funds to it to do it right.
Additionally, I would just say the side note that these 4B dollars cannot be used outside of the sports complex today. So it's something that gets missed in the discussion.
Tina, would we need to reduce the contingency amount you have here?
Correct. 720, the overage will be is 725, is that correct?
Correct. Our plan would be, regardless of option 1 or option 2 today, to come back the next meeting and purchase the turf in the concession restroom building. But to answer your question about the contingency, yes, we'd need less. If you are going with the 4 turf fields, we'd need more money next meeting to purchase the turf.
Okay, well then I'll make that amendment to reduce the contingency once we move forward.
Okay.
Reduce the contingency?
Yeah. I'll reduce it
Once
further.
we get the final number at the next meeting, then we can vote on that, correct? Once you know, I mean, we know what it's going to cost
We
to
know the
purchase
cost.
the 4 fields,
Yes,
right? Okay.
correct.
And it's 725
We,
to do all 4
That would be
with
the amount
turf?
requested for the.
In
for the
addition.
overage.
For the
For the
additional 2.
overage, yeah, for the additional 2.
This time it would be 2.1 plus 50,000 in contingency.
Okay.
If you
Just
decide
to-
to go turf.
and the contingency, as you know, just with any projects, once they start digging, and you don't know what they'll run into, we just want a little cushion. But 50,000 would be plenty on a
Addition.
contingency on the construction end.
And there, yeah, because there shouldn't be too many unknowns. We were the last ones to do out there. It's just been a parking lot, you know, and so what we're approving today is to the construction amount to start the base work, start the dirt work and everything else. It has nothing to do with the turf fields. Like Tina said, we'll address that at the next meeting, but we should do it right and do all 4 fields.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Tina, do you, or Laura, do you know how many players that we have in each sport respectively? Football, GMFL, and
Kyle Huckabee with GMFL is here if the council's interested in just hearing an
Absolutely.
update from him how the fall went.
I'd just like to point out, I think we will be replacing the turf a little more often because I think it'll be used, it's needed, so I think it'll be used more than what you have inside the stadium. the stuff outside will be used a whole
Jeff,
lot more.
you're absolutely right. We do not have enough football fields the way it is now.
I
We're
mean, that's
turning
why we
down.
discussed it to begin
Right.
with.
We're turning down 150 kids a year at this point in time. And so we are going to be requesting more football fields, more soccer fields, more baseball fields in the future because kids are being turned away.
Well,
But
and
it will help even out the play. Right now, so much, even practice, is going on Grande. So when you talk replacement, perhaps we won't have to replace Grande as often if we have these facilities
Get more
outside the
life.
complex.
Which is a more expensive turf, correct?
Yeah.
Grande.
Well, and the problem that we're running into, you talk to all the coaches, and, the school system doesn't have the money to really water adequately the fields. And I can remember in the days when the folks that lived around Lee would call because they were moving the pipes around, trying to keep Lee as saturated as possible so they would keep the injuries down. And so we get it from both sides. Well, the school's wasting water, but yeah, they're also trying to keep kids from being injured.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And so I think we have to move to turf in the long run for the best of our community and really for the safety of our kids in the long run as well. Because we do live in a community that has drought conditions from time to time.
And
We're fortunate this year, but next year we may not have the water.
And we have noticed during the rainy times, because of the limited amount of playing fields that we do have, that the leagues are forced to play on these fields. And then it creates a mud hole in the middle, because at the GMFL, the little kids, they don't really move off the 50-yard line unless someone breaks it and goes to the end zone. So that's just the nature of what it is. But no child should be turned away from playing the sport he wants to play in this community. And that's what's happening in the future. They've been playing 5-quarter football, which is not football. That's just letting everybody participate. And so we need to get back to offering a quality of life for our children. When I was growing up in this community, Midland, Texas set the standard, and we set the bar for surrounding communities on what the playing surface for our children was. And we need to get back to that standard. And doing this is a step in that direction.
Mr. Huckabee, why don't you come up and give us a little overview of GMFL, please. Hope you're doing well. Good morning.
Doing all right. My name's Kyle Huckabee, 2510 Regency Oaks here in Midland, by God, Texas. President of Greater Midland Football League. Been involved with the league for 19 years, been president for 17. That explains my hairstyle for those of you that are curious. You guys, appreciate all the comments. A lot of them very, very true. GMFL's grown. When I got involved with the league, we had 275 kids. Played at the junior highs. Really a mess. Moved through the gracious work of the city to behind Lowe's out at Russell Park. And we had 325 kids at that point. This year we had 830. That's 105 over where we were the previous year. Those are primarily younger kids. It was primarily in the 3rd grade that we had a swell, and I think that's also what the school system's seeing. The community's kind of turned over. It seems like we've got a lot of younger children coming. We still had to turn kids away. I don't like it. It bothers me to know living in. But there's a point where you have 38 kids on a roster, you've just got to say no, because you can't coach that many kids. We can't play them. It's not the experience we want, of course. So the reason for the 4 fields is numerous, and a lot of it is allow the kids to play, and be a multi-sport facility, but allow the kids to play. Allow them to participate on teams that don't have 38 kids. Part of the reason that I would really like to see us go with the 4 turf fields. Safety, you guys all brought up safety. This year, out of that 830 kids, and it's basically was a fairly wet year, as we know. The ground was good. The city did a great job getting this ready. We had 3 reportable insurance claims. Okay, 2 broken wrists and a bent elbow. Okay, last year in the drought, when I had 725 kids, we had 22 reportable accidents, and several of those were concussions. Now, those aren't concussions from running into one another, because you got little kids running into little kids and big kids running into big kids, and the big kids don't move very fast. Okay, that was primarily from hitting the the ground with the back of the head. And we can't prevent that. There's just no way to prevent that, okay? So from a safety perspective, there's no doubt which is safer, and that's going to be turf, okay? From field maintenance, there's also no doubt. Our fields, guys, not just us, our schedule's very tight. Rain kills us, as we know. I visited with Councilman Lacey before about when it rains and we're trying to get out there, and he's right, we stomp a mud hole in it because the kids play on the 50, and that's just kind of the way it goes. But rain kills us, but guys, the current fields are being used not all but 90 days of the year. You can't grow grass that way. Okay, there's 90 days, and those 90 days are June, July, and August, which is not when a lot of folks would go out and try to grow grass. It's being used by flag football, community groups. It's just used all the time. I think Councilman Dufford said there's 2 football fields in town. Okay, and that's all there is in a community this size. And growing to 4 is a wonderful leap forward. Okay, but I would really like to see us do it right and do it for where we're going to be in the future. I think if we get 2 sod fields, we will immediately go to work on trying to get them to be turf. And the turf is the way most people are going. It allows us to have tournaments, which brings funds into the city. Guys, if we have 2 turf and 2 sod, and you try to book a tournament with the 4 fields, and we have rain, you now have a disaster on your hands. Okay? So when we book a tournament, we're going to use 2 fields availability. And then everybody will say, gosh, you got all these spots out here. What are you doing? But to be safe, that's the way we're going to do it. Now, if you got 4, then you can plan on regardless of the weather, then you can bring that in. So that's another important aspect. You've got the maintenance, the safety, the tournaments. All of those things are reasons to get to the 4 turf fields at this time.
Very good. Good overview. That's what we needed to hear.
All right, guys.
All right,
thank y'all.
you.
Couldn't agree more, and to be clarified for the public, this is not just going to be used for football. Soccer is going to play on them. Lacrosse is going to play on them. As we continue to grow, there's participants in all levels of sports, and this is just another tool, another playing surface we have for our growing community.
Okay, any other questions, discussion for staff? I've got a motion.
Yeah, second. You have well, I made the motion, and I thought Jay Ross seconded it, but maybe you did. Did you?
Yeah, we've got to do an amendment.
I'm withdrawing it.
Okay.
No.
Never
Well,
good.
all right, well,
We're ready now.
okay. Well, I'm going to make a recommendation that we go with the original recommendation of the 4 turf, installing turf on all 4 fields, and also reducing the contingency to $50,000.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, second. Discussion?
We've had it.
With none heard, let's vote, please.
The motion passes unanimously.
Very good. Exciting. Thank you. 14, consider a resolution authorizing the execution of an amendment to the professional service agreement with Luck Design Team LLC to perform engineering and architectural design services in accordance with the City of Midland Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Master Plan at a total cost of $39,500 in appropriating funds.
Mr. Mayor, I pulled this because when I read this, I just wanted to try to get a little bit of historical perspective. In your discussion on this item, it says, November 2014 City Council approved a resolution to enter a PSA with Luck Design to provide design services for Hogan Park conceptual renovation project. This work was originally scheduled to be completed December 31st. The work has been on hold due to a higher priority given to the Scarborough Sports Complex auxiliary field project. We just heard the reasons why we need to have more football fields. But Hogan Park upgrades shelved, and what was the determination of a higher priority of the football fields versus something that council had voted on previously?
Well, Luck Design was awarded both contracts, and so the sports complex, I don't know exactly why that was given. I don't know the exact answer. It was just the higher priority project, mainly because of the dollar value and because we were just looking at a conceptual design for Hogan Park. And so there wasn't the urgency to get it built because it was just a plan to see what possibly could be done with those fields. So I think maybe that was the reason that it was a higher priority. The sports complex was an actual construction project with construction plans and construction oversight, whereas the Hogan Park was just a conceptual plan.
So was that done by staff, or was that done by the Parks and Rec Board, or, because I don't remember council making that decision, so how was that determined?
Probably 4B.
Probably.
And the Parks and Rec Commission as well. That was the priority project, was the sports complex project.
Councilman Love, I can give you some insight. I serve as liaison on the Parks and Rec Commission, and the reason the football fields were made a priority is because of a time limit that they have to be ready by fall of this year to play on. I mean, it does us no good to finish them in December this year because we've lost the whole playing time on them. And what this plan does with Luck Design on Hogan Park and other parks is get us conceptual designs of adding to our master parks plan. And to give you an example, the hike and bike trail around Air Park is no longer the direction we're going. It's now being moved to around Hogan Park, and so that's an addition to what we're putting out there right in that area of how we can enhance Hogan Park. Because once we get the conceptual design and we make a decision, then we've got to pay for design and move forward in that direction.
Sure, I understand all of that. I'm just trying to understand, were these mutually exclusive? I mean, you said Luck was awarded both. We couldn't have done both at the same time? Or was Luck just overwhelmed? If that's the case, why didn't we consider someone else for the project?
I don't think because of the Parks and Recreation Commission and 4B that it was thought to be the higher priority. It was just not. Actually, the sports complex work took longer than originally anticipated just because we kept having to try to cut cost and put it out for bids and know exactly where we were. And so it just happened that one took longer than anticipated. We were hoping to have both done on time, but it didn't work out that way.
So what is the plan for coming back to the Hogan project?
He is ready to go on Hogan Park. He's actually already started on Hogan Park. And this project that you're looking at now is to look at additional fields that were identified in the master plan, like the Beal Soccer Complex. And then looking at Reyes Mashburn in addition to Hogan, and just looking at that all together because that's what was directed as the master plan, to look at all different types of sports complexes, not just baseball and softball.
I appreciate your information.
Good question, okay. Any other questions for staff? We got a motion second. If there's no further discussion, let's vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
15, consider a resolution approving an economic development agreement between the Midland Development Corporation and the University of Texas of the Permian Basin as authorized by Chapter 501 of the Texas Local Government Code.
Mr. Mayor, I pulled this item just to recognize UTPB is my alma mater. We have quite a few staff members in attendance, and I just wanted to thank them. This is yet another great example of the City of Midland and UTPB working together in partnership to benefit our community. The aerospace engineering program will help with the additional recruiting of our spaceport that we have now as we continue to try to diversify our economy in this new industry. And so I just want to thank UTPB for working with us. This is a great partnership. Dr. Watts, you're doing a fantastic job over there. And I'm a very proud alumni of UTPB. I know Councilman Love is as well. And I wholeheartedly support this, and that I move for approval.
Dr. Watts, would you like to come forward and say a few words? Thank you for being here.
We have a football team coming up.
That's why we need fields.
That's why we need more kids playing.
Happy New Year. How you doing?
Good morning, gentlemen, ladies. Delighted to be here. I'm David Watts, president of the University of Texas Permian Basin. I've really appreciated the previous discussion regarding football. For additional fields to play, we're very grateful for the opportunity that we'll be playing one of our games next fall here in Midland. Go Falcons, right?
Absolutely.
Very good. First of all, let me say how grateful I am to the council previous members, current members, with the support for the university. Just a quick report on engineering at UTPB. Without the City of Midland's support in a host of ways, engineering probably would not exist at UTPB. Today, over 6,100 students at the university last fall, and of those 6,100, over 1 in 10 students were engineering majors. Think about that. That's an incredible transformation of a university in a very short period of time. We're proposing to add aerospace engineering to our existing mechanical engineering program, and we're very confident that we'll be able to bring high quality faculty to this program, and with your support we will have the necessary laboratories to make it an exceptional high quality program. I'm very grateful for the other UTPB folks who are here today. If I can just acknowledge them, beginning with Provost Heimerman, who's a resident here in Midland, Dean of our College of Engineering and Business, Bill Price, and Dr. Forrest Flocker, who's chair of our engineering program. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a wonderful opportunity for both of us. Thank you.
Dr. Watts, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Watts.
Absolutely, thank you.
All that you're doing. We appreciate it. Okay, we have a motion and second. Is there any other discussion? Let's vote, please.
The motion carries unanimously.
Item 20, going to second readings, item 21.
Ordinance changing zoning use classification of property described as Lot 8, Block 2, West Ridge Park Addition, Section 20, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located northwest of the intersection of Zolgo Boulevard and north of Route 250 West, which is presently zoned to be planned district for a shopping center, by permitting said property to be used under a specific use permit with term for the sale of all alcoholic beverages in a bar for on-premises consumption, making said permit subject to certain conditions and restrictions contained herein, containing a criminal clause, containing a statement of severability clause, providing for a maximum penalty or fine of $2,000 in order of publication.
Discussion? Yep, I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, let's vote.
An ordinance reading vacating in a bit.
Not here.
The motion carries 6-0.
Item 22.
An ordinance reading vacating and abandoning a 0.12 acre portion of alley right-of-way located in Block 5, Garden Addition, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located on the east side of Andrews Highway, approximately 330 feet north of West Louisiana Avenue, adopting the appraisal by the city manager of $20,720, retaining a general utility and access easement, and ordering recordation by the city secretary.
Any discussion? Questions? Got a motion second. No discussion. Let's please vote. Yep. Define.
The motion carries 6-0.
Item 23.
An ordinance granting a special exception for Lot 6, Block 2, Northwest Addition, Section 15, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located on the south side of Mockingbird Lane, approximately 230 feet east of North Midland Drive, by permitting a reduced openness of a fence within the front yard setback, containing a cumulative clause, containing a savings and severability clause, providing for a maximum penalty or fine of $2,000, ordering recordation by the city secretary in the deed records of Midland County, Texas, and ordering publication.
We have a motion second. Any other discussion? Please vote. Mm-hmm.
First reading, I believe, but I had an opportunity to go out there and look. So I just wanted that for the record.
Very good. Thank you.
The motion carries 6-0. 0.
24.
The zoning use classification of the property described as a 2,583 square foot portion of Lot 15F, Block 40, Fairmount Park Addition, Section 40, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located on the south side, on the north side of West Wadley Avenue, approximately 250 feet west of Sagemont Drive, which is presently zoned LR2 Local Retail District, by permitting said property to be used under a specific use permit with term for the sale of all alcoholic beverages in a restaurant for on-premises consumption, making said permit subject to certain conditions and restrictions contained herein, containing a cumulative clause, containing a same severability clause, providing for maximum penalty or fine of $2,000 and ordering
Dickey's
publication.
Barbecue. Motion and second. Any discussion on this item? Please vote.
The motion carries 6-0.
Item 25.
An ordinance making certain transfers in various funds of the 2014-2015 fiscal year budget and making certain budget amendments and ordering recordation.
We have a motion and second. If there's no further discussion, let's vote.
Councilmember Duffy?
No.
The motion carries 6-0.
Go to public hearings, item 26.
An ordinance changing the zoning use classification of the property described as Lot 3, Block 2, Westridge Park Addition, Section 4, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located southwest of the intersection of Andrews Highway and North Loop 250 West, which is presently zoned LR2 Local Retail District, by permitting said property to be used under a specific use permit with term for the sale of all alcoholic beverages in a restaurant for on-premises consumption, making said permit subject to certain conditions and restrictions contained herein, containing a cumulative clause, containing a savings and severability clause, providing for maximum penalty or fine of $2,000 and ordering publication.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. This request is being made by HEB as is part of their proposed new development at the corner of Loop 250 and Andrews Highway. This is a restaurant that will be totally located within HEB, and they're asking for the ability to serve alcoholic beverages. There will be no outside access to this site. They have a floor area of 5,000 square feet, which includes 1,115 square feet patio. They're requesting a maximum seating capacity of 140 people. Their hours will be Sunday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. The Planning Commission recommended approval of this request at its January 4th meeting, and the staff would support that action by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Hey Chuck, how does how do they keep alcohol from flowing into the actual store?
I'd rather let them describe how that's going to look, Mr. Mayor. They do
Sure.
have a representative here. The
Very
store
good.
manager is here.
You can't drink beer and shop at the same time.
Well, I guess you could shop in form of bottles.
Morning.
Good afternoon, or good morning, folks. My name's...
I did not. Thank you. Public hearing is now open. If you'll give us your name and address.
Good morning. My name's Garrett Stoddard. I'm the unit director, the store manager of this facility. My address is 5610 Dunbarton Oaks Boulevard. To answer any of your questions...
Welcome to Midland.
Oh, thank you. To answer your question, we do not allow any alcohol that is purchased throughout the store inside the restaurant. That is under any circumstances. So anyone who, let's say, buys a 24-pack of Bud Light in our store will not be allowed with that product inside the restaurant.
How about vice versa?
Yeah.
No alcohol will be able to be taken out of the restaurant. The only area that it will be able to be consumed is inside the restaurant and in our dining area that is also fenced off.
So if I go get a 12-ounce draft beer, take it into the store, your manager will come up and say you're not allowed.
Yes.
Pick it up from the customer?
Yes.
Or ask them just to go back?
We would ask them to go back at that time, and that is by TABC law, from my understanding.
Very
good.
Yeah, there is going to be like a little fence to segregate the area as far as the dining area.
Fence inside is like a rail or?
It's outside the building. It's like a dining outside experience, so there will be a division of it. Yes, a patio.
Oh, the fence, okay, you were talking about the going into the restaurant, you said, I was a little bit confused. What's the barrier to prevent them from going inside the store?
I apologize for that. Yeah, there is an offense inside the building. No, what we would do is, of course, all of our partners are trained and aware of the TABC rules and regulations and laws. So we would not allow anyone. So let's say a customer decides to bring in their shopping basket after their partner or wife or husband went into the restaurant and purchased food. They would not be allowed with that shopping basket. So
I understand that concept. What I'm specifically asking about is what type of barrier do you have to prevent that? Is there a rail or is it a short wall, only one entrance where you can go and out, or is it completely open and you just have people standing around making sure that people aren't walking out?
There's 2 points of entry, if I'm not mistaken, according to the plans. So once you purchase food, you can enter that way, and then there's also going to be an exit area. But there is there's a couple pillars that could be used as a barrier, but there isn't anything as far as a fence inside or any barrier that would not allow the alcohol.
I guess here I'll answer it real simple for you. You're asking real simple. My wife, she might say, we might have a glass of wine while I go shop. So she'd go in there, drink a glass of wine, maybe half finish it. She'll go, I think I'm gonna go do my shopping now. How do you convince her or keep her from going to do her shopping while she's sipping on a glass of wine?
It's against TABC rules and
Just like any
regulations. and
restaurant,
laws.
right? You've got people looking out for that kind of thing.
But the answer is management.
Yeah,
And
management,
staff.
partners, everyone will be there, and we are all trained. And the partners that are being onboarded now will be trained as well to be on the lookout for that sort of thing.
You could actually show us those diagrams, the entrances and exits if anyone wanted to know that. Are you okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
Okay.
No, I'm very familiar with the facility.
I think you answered our question. Very good. Well, congratulations, and we look forward to the opening and to the experience.
Well, we are too.
Have a lot of traffic controllers out there because it's going to be a nightmare.
Well, we're very excited, yes, sir.
Great.
Thank you all.
Do you have a date for us?
February 26th.
All right, thank you.
Around the corner. This is still a public hearing, is still open. Anyone else wishing to speak on this matter? No one else to speak. We'll close the public hearing. Got a motion, second. Any other discussion, council? Let's vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Again, good luck and congratulations. And please call if you need any assistance. Item 27,
An ordinance changing zoning classification by amending Chapter 1, Title 11 of the City Code of Midland, Texas by permitting Lot 18B, Block 109, Wilshire Park Addition, Section 17, City and County of Midland, Texas, which is presently zoned PD Plan District for a shopping center in part and LR2 Local Retail District in part to be used as an LR1 Local Retail District, generally located north of the intersection of Thomason Drive and West Illinois Avenue, containing a cumulative clause containing a savings and severability clause, providing for maximum penalty or fine of $2,000 and ordering publication.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. This request is being made by a dollar store. They are proposing to take this site and put a new store at this location. Y'all may recall we looked at a hotel approach 6 months ago. What they're proposing now is to do this as a regular retail outlet that would be allowed in the LR1 district. The planned district that was out there was established in 1999, and the current applicant can't work within that, the requirements of that, and they wish to just rezone the property to LR1 and go through standard processes. This use is consistent with LR1 district uses. It's also a comprehensive plan calls for retail uses in this area along arterial roads. Staff recommends approval of this request, and the Planning and Zoning recommended approval at this December 7th, 2015 meeting. As of this date, we've received no objections.
This is the old ESC building?
No, this is vacant land.
It's a vacant. It's just west there. It's vacant. Yes, sir.
I've got a question for Mr. Ortiz in engineering on curb cuts. They reviewed this, they're good with it?
Would defer to Mike.
Okay, come on down, Mike.
Yes, that curb cut is far enough north that it'll be clear of any future work at the intersection.
Okay, just want to double check.
Okay, public hearing. If you're wishing to speak on this item, please come forward. State your name and address. No one wishing to speak, we'll close the public hearing. Okay, questions for staff? Anybody understand the project? Got a motion, second? No further discussion, let's vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Mayor, I need to abstain from the next 4 items.
Okay. Item 28, hold a public hearing regarding a proposed oil and gas permit to Callan Petroleum Operating Company for permit to drill an oil and gas well within the city limits, Pecan Acres 22A3, number 5H, located 280 feet from the north line and 335 feet from the east line, located in section 22, block 40, T-1-ST and P Railroad Company Survey, City of Midland and County of Midland, Texas, generally located on the south side of the west extension of Mockingbird Lane, West County Road 50, approximately 1 mile north of Briarwood Avenue. This is a public hearing only and no further action will be taken.
Good morning, Mayor, Council. This is, last month we had some wells in from Callan. These are near those same wells. These are 2 wells that will be sharing the same pad. This is the first one you'll be seeing. Requesting, this has been to Oil and Gas Advisory Committee, and corrections have been made that they advised. They're requesting 3 variances. The variance for landscaping of 12 months, a variance for irrigation, and a variance for 24-hour fracking. This well does go to a new proposed tank battery. The fire marshal and myself have met with their representatives, and we're good to go there too.
Very good. Any questions? Okay, this is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak, please come forward. No one will speak, we'll close the public hearing. Item 29, hold a public hearing regarding a proposed oil and gas permit to Callan Petroleum Operating Company for permit to drill an oil and gas well within the city limits, Pecan Acres 22A4, number 6H, located 250 feet from the north line and 335 feet from the east line, located in section 22, block 40, T-1-ST and P Railroad Company Survey, City of Midland and County of Midland, Texas, generally located on the south side of the west extension of Mockingbird Lane, West County Road 50, approximately 1 mile north of Briarwood Avenue. This is a public hearing only. No further action will be taken.
Pretty much same story, sharing same pad. I think last time we asked a question about the closest house in this vicinity, far as in the county. The closest one, 782 feet from the city limits, 2,000 feet.
Is the tank battery further north?
It's more in the center of the property. It's to the southeast. So, yeah.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Wishing to speak on this, please come forward. No one will speak, we'll close the public hearing. 31, hold a public hearing regarding a proposed oil and gas permit to Callan Petroleum Operating Company, operator. 30, hold a public hearing regarding a proposed oil and gas permit to Callan Petroleum Operating Company for a permit to drill an oil and gas well within the city limits, Pecan Acres 23 PSA 2, number 9SH, located 577 feet from the north line and 2,560 feet from the east line, located in section 23, block 40 T-1-S T&P Railroad Company Survey, City of Midland and County of Midland, Texas, generally located 577 feet south of west extension of Mockingbird Lane, West County Road 50, and 1,224 feet west of Golden Gate Drive, District 4. This is public hearing only. No further action will be taken.
These are their 2 wells on the the east side of the property, closer to Golden Gate. Same thing, it's been to Oil and Gas. They took care of any corrections. We've received no letters of objections on these wells. Closest house is to the west, 782 feet away is the closest one, I'm sorry. They're using the same new proposed tank battery. Same variance is being requested, 12 months for landscaping, no irrigation, and 24-hour frac.
And fracking on this, where would it be located? The pit?
The fracking?
Yeah.
It'd be
Those
Right there,
well locations.
next door?
Right, yeah, those two
Okay.
well locations.
Very
Right.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, it's public hearing. If you're wishing to speak, please come forward. No one to speak, will close the public hearing. 31, hold a public hearing regarding a proposed oil and gas permit to Callan Petroleum Operating Company for a permit to drill an oil and gas well within the city limits. Pecan Acres 23, PSA 2, number 16, AH, located 577 feet from the north line and 2,520 feet from the east line, located in section 23, block 42-1-ST&P Railroad Company Survey, City of Midland, County of Midland, Texas. Generally located 577 feet south of the west extension of Mockingbird Lane, West County Road 50, and 1,184 feet west of Golden Gate Drive. This is a public hearing only. No further action will be taken.
And this is the second well on that second pad, and as far as clarification for the houses within the city limits, the closest one's 1,500 feet to the west and 1,600 feet to the southwest. But those are the city limits. Same variance is being requested.
Thank you. Public hearing. Any of you wishing to speak, please come forward. No one will speak, will close the public hearing. 32, hold a public hearing regarding a proposed oil and gas permit to XTO Energy, Inc., operator for a permit to drill an oil and gas well within the city limits. Robbie 2421 SH, located 752 feet from the west line, 255 feet from the north line, located in section 24, block 40, T-1-S, T&P Railroad Company Survey, City of Midland and County of Midland, Texas. Generally located 595 feet west of Avalon Drive and 272 feet from South Mockingbird Lane Extension. This is a public hearing only. No further action will be taken.
These have been to the Oil and Gas Advisory Committee. They have received their approval, same meeting this previous wells went to. They're asking for a variance for the landscaping, and in lieu of the landscaping, they're wanting to make a $10,000 donation to the City of Midland Parks and Recreation Endowment Fund.
I had a question about that landscape variance. How close are houses to this? I mean, this is an area that will be continuing to grow.
Right. There's some commercial ones, commercial buildings directly to the west, and there's 779, 824. Nearest house is approximately 1,000 feet. It's to the northwest catty corner. There's a well on the west side of this location, and that one has trees around it. And it's basically about right there, and the trees are on one side and on this side. And this well's to the east of that location.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's no action taken here today, but it's something I'd like to look at before we vote on it.
Most definitely. I can get you a copy of their, kind of see how the landscaping of the other well is and kind of see where it sits.
Okay.
You bet.
There isn't a South Mockingbird Lane extension. It's south of the Mockingbird Lane extension.
Correct. Correct.
And that would be the west extension.
Correct. You bet.
Any other questions?
And I guess being 255 feet off that extension is when road bill.
Right. Yeah. We maintain wells for when we do build a well there, a road there. 135 is what we leave the gap for, so we got plenty of room.
Thank you. So y'all look at it.
You bet. We lick those things.
Appreciate it.
One other thing, they're also asking for a variance for the 24-hour fracking, and XTO is also offering to put sound blankets on the sides facing houses around this well. Just so you'll be aware of that.
So, Ron, do those notices go out? Like stating that 24-hour?
No. They do not state what the variance is. It just states we're having a meeting and for application of a well, and gives an idea where the well is located.
Well, Mr. Mayor, after the passage of House Bill 40, the municipality cannot regulate a subsurface activity, so therefore we can't restrict the hours of fracking.
Right, we're basically just making our ordinance work, follow House Bill 40. So we're going to always probably going to always see that request for variance of 24-hour fracking, which keeps our ordinance in line with the House Bill 40.
Okay. Good to know that.
You bet.
We might have, is there many more updates that we need to be aware of on that passage?
Pretty much no, nothing.
Okay.
That was about it. Mr. Mayor, I know Councilman Sparks and myself wouldn't testify down for House Bill 40, and it's, our ordinance is pretty much on par with what it is. And the reason that we did, the reason 12-hour fracking was put, I'm sorry, Councilman Love was down there. He just spoke so late after me, I didn't get to see him. The 12-hour fracking was because we were doing vertical wells at that time. These horizontal wells, you need days to complete, with anywhere from 25 to 35 stages of that. So you can't just stop and shut down. You have to allow that to be a continuous process.
And our ordinance is pretty much set up for vertical wells, so we've gradually adapted through variances to make it work for the horizontal, which we have.
Well, on each of these projects on the wall height, we could work with the operator.
Right. They're offering to put the sound blankets. It's not a requirement under our ordinance, but they're offering to do it on the sides towards the neighborhoods.
Okay.
And that's pretty much what in our past history with this ordinance, whenever we thought we needed sound blankets, most time I try to explain to the operator that would probably be something to bring up, and if not, the council's put it on as a requirement.
Thank you. Okay, this is a public hearing. Wishing to speak, please come forward. Good morning. Will you give us your name and address?
It's Andy Torres, and address is 6413 Los Conchas Lane. My house is about 800 feet from the location.
Yes, sir.
And I'm in the business, so I'm not really opposed to it. And I know I grew up, born and raised in the oil patch, so I'm not really opposed to all this. I guess have a couple concerns, primarily with the traffic, the oil field traffic. You're talking about a neighborhood inside the city limits that these trucks are going to be coming up, unless there's going to be some sort of enforcement that they're going to be going up lease roads only. Because we have kids running around with, the lighter of the vehicles, these water hauling trucks, loaded down are about 100,000 pounds. So that's my biggest concern, is that as long as there's going to be an enforcement of some sort, that they use lease roads only. And I know that there's not a noise ordinance or anything like that, so it's something I have to deal with.
Sure, good question.
Right. I don't know, maybe you can answer that a little bit better than I can. I was honestly, saw that there was a notice for hearing this past weekend, so I'm a little bit, probably not
very
well informed, but I guess we can elaborate on that a little bit.
Okay.
Mr. Torres, there's my business card right there. Please send me an email, reach out. I'll be happy to have a dialogue with you, answer any questions you have on that. This is just a public hearing, so the approval of the permit hasn't happened yet. We've still got a 30-day period. You have extremely valid concerns, and so I'd definitely like to talk with you about them.
And the other ones, these are all $1 million homes, and we don't want it to be devalued, but I understand.
Absolutely.
Their pad's going to be in the county, and they're going to be going horizontally. There's really nothing I don't really have a whole lot of objections to that, just those main concerns. But,
please reach out, I'd be happy to talk with you.
Ron, can you speak to the traffic right now? Oh, I'm sorry, John.
Could you do me a favor? Could you grab that laser pointer right down there? Could you indicate where your house is?
It's actually, it's about right there.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it was shaking so much. It's somewhere over there. It's just right.
It's right off Mockingbird.
Right.
It's off Mockingbird.
Okay.
On Los
Thank you.
Conchas.
Right, on Los Conchas Lane.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That circle's an 860-foot circle, so you'll know the perimeter there. As far as the road, they'll be accessing from Briarwood and coming up. This is XTO owns this property through here, and they have wells, and they'll come straight into their property on the dirt road into theirs.
So they won't be at going in that neighborhood.
Avalon will not be used, and there is no access through that gate for them to get through.
So did you catch that, Mr. Torres? Okay.
So they will be restricted on their entrance and exit.
Yeah, under their road repair agreement, we make them put what streets are using and which ones they have to stay on.
Very good. Public hearing is still open. Anyone else wishing to speak? We'll close the public hearing. Thank you for being here. Item 33.
An ordinance vacating and abandoning a 0.05 acre portion of North Pecos Street right-of-way adjacent to lots 1 and 2, Block 59, Original Town Edition, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located southwest of the intersection of West Texas Avenue, North Pecos Street, adopting the appraisal by the city manager of $8,000 and ordering recordation by the city secretary.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the applicant is seeking to vacate a .05 acre portion of North Pecos Street located adjacent to lots 1 and 2 of Block 59. The franchise utility companies have reviewed it and approved the request. However, staff, including city engineering, transportation, and development services, are a little bit concerned about what they're requesting. They're proposing to take in existing street parking. The city would still be providing the aisle space for that parking. And it creates a lot of other issues there. We think it creates a dangerous precedent downtown, taking away street parking for an individual development. We have indicated to the applicants that we're willing to look at other options, including rearranging their parking, doing some different things. But as far as the street parking itself, the staff is still in a position not being willing to approve that. We think a far better idea would have been maybe to just do away with that portion of Pecos. It's a short section there that it would be better off. If they wanted to vacate, it would be better off to vacate all of Pecos, then they could do whatever they wanted on their half of Pecos. That would be what we would recommend. We did receive one letter of objection that you have before you. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So this vacation would actually narrow Pecos? It would require a narrowing of Pecos.
The street's going to be the same. It's the angle parking that is accessed off the street that's going to be removed.
So if you go over there and look, there's actually, that part of Pecos it actually is cut in for that parking that's along there. The street never gets touched. It's actually, there's a cutout that goes just past that curb to allow that 10 feet of, that 10 feet for cars parking there.
So what you would be vacating is public parking?
Public parking.
That's what
And still providing the aisle space for somebody's private parking.
What about sidewalks and everything else? I mean,
that would be in that section. Go back to the map, please, Christina. There. The sidewalks actually right here.
It's just 6-8 spots.
I never really counted.
I think the applicant, what they're doing is they're taking an old crappy building and they're actually improving the space. And they have more employees than what was in there previously, and that's why they need extra parking for their employees as opposed to being 6 to 8 public parking spaces. And I know I think the staff, as a matter of fact, visited with Jose yesterday as well about the possibility of, I think there's maybe 4 owners that are affected by Pecos over there anyway, and a better solution might be to see if all 4 of those owners, I think it's Dave Arrington, probably ERP, Tejas, I'm not sure who the 4th one is, but it could be that, we vacate all the Pecos there and make it public.
That was what we would prefer to see done. And
since that part of Pecos is never tried, I mean,
that's
it's a pretty narrow, worthless street for the most part.
Yes, sir.
well, I travel on it, so I wouldn't call it worthless, Councilman Dufford,
Yeah. So you mentioned something, aisle space, is that what you said?
Yeah, in a typical parking lot, this would be your aisle space behind the parking. So we're still providing the aisle space to that private parking. You follow me? If it was a parking lot, if this was closed off, then we would be out of providing the aisle space. It's street parking.
It's a buffer zone, is that my understanding?
Well, it'd be spaces that typically in a parking lot, people used to back in and get into the parking.
I got you. Okay, that's clear.
I personally like the idea of seeing all 4 of those owners over there would be interested in purchasing their half of Pecos and turning it into some kind of pedestrian walkway and then provide all of them with extra parking.
yeah, I can't just do it for one.
Could we defer it and actually come back to the plan?
I know that Ben's here. I don't know about turning it down. I just think,
I do think it's kind of hard to justify, as we talk about, we need more parking downtown, the city's putting money into parking downtown, and then saying, but we're willing to sell somebody the parking that we already have downtown. That's kind of, I mean, I know where you're coming from, and I understand that, I'm just,
I look at it from a,
Giuliani's
right.
and-
Well, yeah, but I look at it from a different perspective, just because of the way the street's configured anyway. It's kind of a cutout there, and I know that those folks are spending, lots of money to rehab an old building that had like one person or 2 people in it, and they need extra parking for their people. So what do you do? I mean, if they're spending money, it's gonna go on the tax rolls and be worth something, you'd think you'd like to accommodate. Accommodate them as best you can.
But I can also understand the argument of the precedent set down there that every little mom and pop shop was gonna want the public parking in front of their establishment for them.
Yeah, but it's configured differently than it is in front of, Wall Street, you can never do that.
Well, yeah.
But I'm just saying, here it's configured differently and you could do that. And it could be that all four of the property owners that affront Pecos there would probably want to make it into some kind of pedestrian walkway anyway, and they would maintain it, and we would take it off the city roads to maintain it.
Is there 2 or is there 4? I'm looking, I think ERP owns all of it.
Well, I think Arrington owns part of it too, he's got the parking across the street. So I think
Maybe ERP's about
Ownership question, I had just glanced at it yesterday. There's Parking Acquisition Company, LLC, that owns all the property, all the parking lots on the west side, south of this building.
Okay.
And Tejas owns the building that's in question. On the east side is Arrington property, and then the building on the southeast quadrant of this block is WNB.
Which is ERP. And the parking company, the LLC across the street is ERP.
That's the way they're.
Because it's parking for that building.
Yeah. I think it makes sense for them to work something out amongst themselves and see if they can. Yeah. Which I think they can.
Okay. So John, what do we need to do?
Well,
I can still
Yeah,
ask the city attorney.
That's one option. I think it's probably a good one is to hold a public hearing today, and then council can make a call on whether you want to have a vote on first reading, or I don't know if the applicant's here, I think Mr. Red's here. You may have some input on this, and then you have an option after holding the public hearing, maybe you want to defer the vote on first reading and have everyone get together and bring another option to you, or that's kind of the council's call.
Okay.
Okay. All right, this is a public hearing. Open the public hearing. If you're wishing to comment on this, please come forward.
Ben, we should just get you a permanent chair here. You're here every meeting.
Thank you. Excuse me?
It's your profession.
My profession, yes. Ben Sanchez, Human Engineering 408 North Pecos. First comment as far as stickers, playing football and stickers, that's part of football. We did that a lot as kids, but nonetheless, I digress. The applicant, we're just seeking to use the parking that's there already as private parking. Now, here on the map, on the previous GIS map, can you show that? There was actually a vacation for 10 feet in 2007, more than likely to accommodate this parking over here, so they could probably build their parking lot. Because the right-of-way through here is 80 feet, and then it juts over 10 feet and makes this 70 feet right through here. So as far as setting a precedent of vacating right-of-way for private parking, you could say it's already been done in 2007 to accommodate this parking lot here. Mrs. Wells, I believe, is here. If you want to ask her any questions about the use of this parking area here. And as far as deferring it and talking about vacating all of Pecos Street, getting everybody together and vacating the whole thing, we would have to discuss that with her and see what we could do.
Okay.
Thank you, Ben. Public hearing is still open. Thank you. If you wish to speak, please come forward. Good morning.
I'm representing the owners of this property. We're just basically wanting to use the same easement that ERP management is using to the south of that property. They basically incorporate that same easement for their surface lot parking, but ours jogs in. And basically,
Can I have you speak in this? Thank you.
and ours jogs in, and basically they're already using that same easement for their surface lot parking for the Frost building. We would like to have that same process. We're going to have a good 10 to 15 people in that building, and as you can see, it's going to house about 3 parking spaces if we don't have that public parking in the front. And since we're renovating that building, there's no place to house. We're basically the only business around that public parking, because Mr. Arrington, of course, has his across the street, and Frost has every lot behind us. So they are adequately covered on their parking. So we are just asking that the council, give us the same easement that basically ERP is using, just makes the street complete as it goes down Pecos.
Okay. Questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. Morning.
Mayor, Council. Robert Rendell, 6 Dusty Drive, Suite 1000. I'm here today on behalf of Arrington Building, LLC, which actually owns the parking lot in this area right here, which would be directly south of the property. And originally, we did have some concerns about it because the way the notices went out, it kind of looked like part of Pecos Street was going to be closed, which we were concerned about. After determining that really the area that they were talking about being vacated was really behind what normally would be the curb, we don't really have all that concern. We're willing to work whatever, as long as the street's not closed. But I do think my client would be very interested in working with the other 3 parties of possibly closing that street, which would really create more parking for everyone in that area possibly. And so anyway, I just want to let you know, contrary to what initial discussions that we had had with the city staff, we're willing to work with whatever you all decide needs to be done at this point. So.
Okay, sounds like I may have to come back to the drawing board.
Who's Judy Rice? I'm just curious. Anybody know?
She's the property manager at Frost and Baskin.
Oh, okay. She is. Okay, so she works for ERP.
Yes, she's the property manager for both buildings.
All right, okay. Just curious.
John, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Robert. And thank you, Ben, for your presentation. I am the property owner, one of the property owners. Trey Walker here owns the property with me along with another partner. I've got a history. John Norwood.
And what is your address?
Yeah, 3 Ashland Drive, Midland, Texas, 79705. We have a history of improving downtown. We spent some $5 million removing 3 old structures across from the Bank of America building. I guess 4 or 5 structures. We created a lot of downtown parking, I believe. In this case, this is going to be our new home, and we sold the Bank of America building to ERP. ERP originally protested this application. They didn't actually understand what it was. It was a little bit odd the way the city sent that out, but anyway, it's literally just taking some private public parking spaces and making them private. I watch out my window. I can see this lot every day, and the same cars park in the same spots every single day. So it's not as if these same people are paying. They're just parking there for free. The city's not monitoring that or anything else. And as Ms. Wells said, the easement, as you can see, that the street actually is it's a certain width, and it's carved out right in front of our building for parking. ERP, which we sold that lot in that building to ERP some 6 years ago, but they actually have that same easement inside their parking lot, and guess what? They get to charge for it every month. So they're using the city easement, they're charging for it. So, you know, while we're certainly willing to work with the city to close this street, and I think that really benefits everybody, I think it's smart. You know, our goal is to simply have you all approve this today, and then we'll come back with another proposal later on, because we have a history of working with the city. In fact, we've got matters before the city now. The city wants an easement for me on what is that road? Fairgrounds Road to widen that area. And we're happy to consider that. We simply need some help from the city today on this.
How far along is construction on the building?
We plan to be in there early March, maybe early April, depending on how construction is. So we simply would be pleased that you all would look favorably on our request and simply approve this today. It's not as if you're giving it to us. We're paying $8,000 for it.
The sidewalks stay.
Sidewalks stay, everything stays. We would like to possibly come back in the future with maybe eliminate the street parking. And our thought is maybe to build some covered parking, much as David Arrington's done across the street, but extend that parking lot back to the east and encompass that parking so there is no street parking. I mean, that's all in the plan, but we have to make some provision now to get this done, move ahead, and then come back for another proposal later on. So I seek your blessing on this today.
Very good. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Unless anybody has a question. Public comment still open. If there's anyone else wishing to speak, let me do that first. Okay, let's close the public comment.
Yeah, I will say in my short time on council, I've seen a few requests before, or at least the discussion brought myself or various members of the staff. This is the only one I've seen actually brought to the city council for approval. As a rule of thumb, I always thought that we kind of turn these away, and I understand the investment downtown and things that are happening. But there were discussions regarding the Hotel Santa Rita and possibly some private parking off street that was city Midland owned that we've actually pushed away to this point. So this is the first time it's been brought up, so it's a consideration. Again, unless I'm missing something or this has been done before, I'm generally not supportive. I'd like to see a better package come back to the council with all the property owners. We're talking potentially closing the street. That's a big decision. And what I'd like a lot more information.
I will say this, I guess it's totally, probably for you, it could be precedent setting, but I guess I was here in 2007.
Yeah, that's
what
what I'm
Cross Bank, for the exact same thing, so I'm going to vote in favor.
And I like the idea of, we're always improving our sidewalks. I don't think this corner is a big impact in our downtown at all. And so we have this, if we approve it today, then we can have that discussion before the next meeting to see where we're going next.
This is just the first reading, Mr. Mayor. We still have a second reading.
That's right.
Deny at that point. Obviously, the investment that they're making in that corner right there, I think that'll give us a little bit more time the next 2 weeks to just go visually. I do drive down, I guess I need to start respecting the public parking when I'm driving down these streets. But if the same opportunity has been afforded across the street, then I would agree with Councilman Duffy that the precedent has been set on that street. I think in the next 2 weeks we'll have enough time to really reevaluate.
And I'll say this, the only reason this is different to me than it would be on Wall Street someplace, like let's use in front of Bank of America or something, or just past that in front of West Perry's building, where there's parking, is that the fact that this cutout exists, and it's not part of the street, it's just parking, that's all it is. It's not like they're taking the street and impeding any kind of traffic, and at this point in time, that sidewalk is staying there. So it's not like people are having to walk out in the street to go from the petroleum club, say, back to Faston Center.
Councilman Duffy, what you just said actually helped me make my decision. That was very, very good. Because I was concerned about potential precedent, even though there's one there with Cross Bank, about other owners coming in and saying, hey, vacate the property, the parking in front of my building so I can have it. But the very fact that there is a cutout, to me, makes a huge difference.
And a sidewalk there now.
Yeah, it's just an improvement in my opinion. And the man helping with the parking issue.
Mr. Gore, can I ask you one more question? The $5 million you mentioned earlier you invested in downtown, did that include the rehab of this new building or the additional investments in?
No, this is additional.
why we call Councilman Duffer the dean. He brings that institutional knowledge to us.
Okay,
But I do want, between the first reading and the second reading, I do want to have some discussion about Pecos in general with folks that own, or with the folks that are affected by possibly closing down Pecos and making it some kind of pedestrian walkway, and being able to add additional, free parking by down.
okay, I have a motion, second. It's been good discussion. Any other more to add? Let's vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, item 34.
Changing the zoning use classification of the property described as Lot 5A, Block 3, Westridge Park Addition, Section 14, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located on the west side of Tradewinds Boulevard, approximately 160 feet north of Dover Boulevard, which is presently zoned PD Plan District for a shopping center, by permitting said property to be used under a specific use permit with term for the sale of all alcoholic beverages in a restaurant
That's interesting.
for on-premises consumption, making said permit subject to certain conditions and restrictions contained herein, containing a cumulative clause containing a savings and severability clause providing for maximum penalty or fine of $2,000 in ordering publication.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this request is being made by Osaka Japanese Steakhouse. They currently have an SUP for sale of alcoholic beverages in their restaurant. However, they are proposing to include the patio area that has been recently enclosed, and because of this, they want to amend their SUP. The restaurant will now have a floor area of 10,208 at 13 feet, and the maximum occupancy will be 280 individuals. Their proposed hours of operation are Sunday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. We've received no letters of objection, and the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval.
Chuck, is it customary that we give a restaurant a 2 a.m. SUP?
It's a little out of the ordinary, but
Absolutely.
Yes,
and
sir.
this is
I'm not familiar with their hours of operation.
Well, we'll get to the public hearing, but I've got some amendments I'd like to make to this SUP.
Any other questions? All right, let's open the public comment period. If you're wishing to speak on this item, please come forward. No one wishing to speak, we'll close the public comment period.
Mr. Mayor, well, I guess we can go through the motion second. I can do an amendment to it, or if you want to do amend to approve, whatever you want to do. Well, I'd like to move to amend and approve to reduce the closing time to 12 a.m. This is a restaurant, not a bar. Midnight. Well, the serving time to 12 a.m. Well, it's a restaurant. I don't think that you should be able. If you want, you can be a bar, or you can be a restaurant, but it. I like setting a precedent, start letting every restaurant stay up until 2 a.m. I just don't feel comfortable with that.
I'm not sure why they're trying to keep their patio open past their restaurant.
Yeah, so I think 12 midnight is more than fair.
I think, well, if they have an issue, they can come back before us, before the next reading. Okay, so it's, we have a motion and second approval of the first of two readings, amended to change the sermon time to 12 midnight. Okay, any other discussion on this one?
What did you say its current time is?
As far as I have that in front of me, I'd have to look to give you an answer. I'll be happy to send that answer to you. I don't have that part of it.
Here, I'll find it real quick for you.
The existing SUP.
It goes to 10 p.m.
Till 10? Okay.
Yeah. And so they wanted to add another 4-hour service. I think we've been gracious enough giving them 12 a.m.
We are going to be setting a precedent. We'll probably have a lot of restaurants that decide to look at
Because it gets to the point, if it's a restaurant that's going to start operating as a bar, well, then we don't put barriers, but we put requirements in place that they have to have PD on site. You know, there's an establishment right across the street from that stays open until 1 a.m. and is required to have 2.
So let me just kind of defend the restaurants. If your company came and rented the restaurant, the patio area, and they want to stay beyond the operating time of the actual restaurant, that would be a disadvantage.
But then that's not operating as a restaurant, Mr. Mayor, it's operating as a bar.
Well, no, because then you still could do an 80-20 or 70-30 mix. You could put a full buffet out and still offer just wine service or just beer service or full mixed beverage service. So it could be a hindrance if
I don't know too many company parties that go to 2 a.m.
But at the same time, I don't know too many people who are going to go to Osaka as a nightclub just for drinks.
Yeah.
You know, if people are going to go for restaurants, like the mayor says, if they want to extend that.
for just a one-time party, which they should be here to defend themselves, and they're not.
Yeah, I would like to hear from the applicant on what is their idea? I hadn't even thought of it from the standpoint that you had for private parties only. And I would assume that.
And I bet midnight is sufficient for this group.
Oh, I would hope
I would
so.
assume
Yeah.
it is, based on 10 p.m. closure, that this would be a lengthy enough time. So I would say, if you approved it, then if she gets wind and like it, she'll come back before us, or reach out to us.
But I do think you brought up something that we perhaps have some sort of policy going to the future, where we just don't get people coming in at say 2 o'clock, but I might like to cater, have someone hire the building for a private.
Yeah,
So
could
there
they
might
not
be a
come in?
policy or something.
Yeah, could they not come in and,
Get a special.
and get a special
Temporary SUP?
temporary SUP just for parties
Parties after midnight.
after midnight? Yeah.
I'd have to look at that. My initial thought would be yes.
Yeah, I would
But
think so. We
how do you
we
do
for
that? I mean,
churches and-
right, but in private parties, they might have one week after week.
Well, they might,
Yeah.
but let's.
No, I'm
I'd like to
not
know
saying,
if that
I'm not
was-
arguing in favor of the 2 a.m. I'm just saying that the temporary SUP could put
Yeah.
a burden on them if they had a bunch of those.
If
like
they were
Christmas
having
time
it
or-
weekend after weekend, this request to amend would have come in a lot earlier than now, so.
That's a good point.
I would think so.
On the other side of the aisle, and it's my restaurant, I'd be arguing, it's my business, don't tell me how to operate my business.
Well, then-
She's not here to say that, I'm just saying.
And I can understand that, but if, in my opinion, if you're open till 2 a.m., if that's what SUP you want, then that's, that's how long bars stay open. And we,
Okay,
quit
so,
serving food and then they turn into a bar after.
well, we've got a motion and second on this till 12 midnight. Is there any other discussion? Let's vote on this. Okay, excuse me. Yeah, we had the public hearing, so, real quickly.
Okay. My name is Julian Rubio, and I live at 2102 Regal, and I am the owner of Sedona Grill. So I kind of agree with Jerry on this, because sometimes you have people, and we do have a patio area as far as ourselves. Our restaurant will stay open till midnight, serving food, so people that are out on weekends, and actually, in our situation, we are
Do you
asking.
have any comments about the current item other than defending the next?
Oh, I'm going to that right now, yeah. And so as far as if they're asking for the 2 o'clock a.m., I don't think Osaka's really gonna do that, but I think you cannot do that to a restaurant where you, like Jerry says, tell them, okay, we're gonna, because you are a restaurant bar, we're gonna close you at 12 o'clock, but if you do ask for that permission, and sometimes you do have customers that come in here, and that's what I'm referring to, what Jerry said. And also Mrs. Hotchkiss over there.
Okay.
And I think the restaurants itself, should have the right to do that.
Well, they also have the right to come and defend themselves in case they're point for that establishment, and I'll be happy to listen to that individual about her establishment and listen to your concerns about.
Yeah, I just wanted to put my input on this.
Okay, very good, thank you. All right, we have a motion, second, let's vote.
The motion passes 6-1.
Okay, item 35.
An ordinance changing the zoning use classification of the property described as Lot 1F, Block 5, Correction Plat of Colony Place, Section 5, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located on the south side of West Wadley Avenue, approximately 670 feet east of North Garfield Street, which is presently zoned LR2, Local Retail District, by permitting said property to be used under a specific use permit with term for the sale of all alcoholic beverages in a restaurant for on-premises consumption, making said permit subject to certain conditions and restrictions contained herein, containing a cumulative clause containing statements in severability liability clause providing for a maximum penalty or fine of $2,000 and ordering publication.
Mayor, members of the council, this is a request by Sedona Grill for renewal of an SUP. Their initial SUP came up for renewal in August. The staff's been working with them. We had a number of issues out there that we've been made aware of, including noise and some other police offenses that had occurred. Since that point in time, as I said, Julian has worked with us trying to solve his issues. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I talked with the police chief before the council meeting. In the last 3 months, they've had like six events. I could get chief up here for sure, but I think it was 6 calls, incidents and events. And none of them have included noise. They've addressed that issue, and the applicant is seeking to operate this as a restaurant. He's converting from a bar. He wants to go to the 60% requirement for a restaurant, and because of the fact that he has worked with us and is trying to address all the issues, the staff would recommend approval of this. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval. That also had an amendment that excluded live performers, including DJs, which were some of the issues about noise. And we did have 3 residents of the Shondell condominiums that attended and voiced their objections based on the noise levels they'd experienced in the past. We received 2 letters of objections, which were in your packet. And beyond that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Talk a little bit here on the permanent structure of the canopy outside, that it shall be fire sprinkled. Why was that allowed to be built without fire sprinklers?
There was a number of issues there. Mr. Ross, Mr. Lacey, that it was put up. It was originally, I think, was going to be one they would take down on occasion, but it has been left up. But we're trying to work through that part, that issue, through the building code standpoint.
Was the awning constructed originally without permits?
I believe so, Mr. Robinette, but I'm not positive. I'm sure that Julian can answer the questions on that.
It was, because then it was taken down once the staff was alerted.
Well, I would like more information from the police chief also, as far as the incidents reports.
Good morning.
Morning.
After the last meeting on September 17th, Mr. Rubio came down to the PD. I called him and we talked about the issues that were going on in the club, noise complaints as such. He mentioned the fact that we're going to try to turn the speakers inward away from the street, and was going to request that his SUP be amended from what you're hearing. I told Mr. Rubio that we'd look at the call volume in 90 days. That was September 17th. So on December 17th, we looked at the calls at Sedona Grill, and there were only 3, none of which included loud music. So as he and I talked, we look at it again, like I said, 90 days, and it improved a lot. So
What were the 3?
one was a vandalism to a vehicle, and 2 disturbances.
Okay.
Chief, refresh my memory, was there a fatality in the parking lot next to this establishment back in the day?
Several years ago.
What was the case, if you can remember, refresh me around that?
Gosh, I can't remember.
I'm sorry, I know I know you got so many going on right now. I just remember seeing that.
Yeah, I hate to say that it was any fault of the establishment.
Okay.
So we're I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, I remember it was a personal altercation between 2 individuals over another incident.
I think I could sell 2 guys over a girl.
I didn't say that.
So Chuck Keith wanted to change his business model from kind of a nightclub status back to a restaurant.
Yes, sir. He's
Is what he told.
As he indicated to me, he's
Yeah.
he's kind of tired of the bar business.
Okay,
We'll get back to the restaurant.
Will the DJ booth be removed?
Let me ask a question. Let's open the public hearing. I'm like, yeah, I got a bunch of questions. So open the public hearing. If you're wishing to speak, please come forward, state your name and address. And I guess we have questions for you, Mr. Rubio. Again, if you'll give us your name and address.
Pardon?
Name and address again.
Okay. My name is Julian Rubio, and my address is 2102 Regal Place here in Midland. And I guess, let me tell you a little bit about myself, just real briefly, okay? I was a member of the Marine Corps from 1977 through 81, and I was involved in one of the operations that they had was Eagle Claw, which was during the Jimmy Carter era, whenever the Iranian crisis were there. So just to tell a little bit, I was a helicopter mechanic there. Once I got out of the Marines, I moved to Midland, and I made Midland my home since then. I'm a real estate broker and also a restaurant owner. I guess as far as I've been working with Chuck and also with Harrington and also Price Robinson, the police chief. I mean, they are very resourceful. They are also informative and polite. And with the situation here, and I guess as we know, Midland is going through a lot of changes. And since we had the boom that came in, and this is my third boom that I've been here, and I guess I don't know what we call it, a bust now, but the way oil is and all that. So I mean, as far as the business itself, they've been very helpful as far as working with us to, I guess, fix the situation that we have right now. Yeah. As far as the incidents that were there, I was not aware that there were many incidents like that. There were actually, you know, every time, I guess as far as 2101 West Wadley is a big address. And I guess I talked to Price about this as far as police chief. If somebody gets pulled over and they pull over right in front of our restaurant, then it's going to go in our restaurant then. So some of these incidents may not actually go as far as disturbances ourselves as a restaurant. And like I guess you were talking about the fatality there. There was an issue that was outside in the parking lot between John Burrito and Sedona Grill, where I'm not too aware about actually what took place, but I think some guy got run over by the other guy. The person that ran over, I guess the one that died was actually acquitted from the murder. So I guess at that time they thought that that's what was going to take place. As far as the noise, we have not had a complaint since August of 2014, and that's been about a year and a half. And if we had 4 complaints during the time that we had our ordinance before it was extended in August, that would have been 4 complaints in that time. And one of them, I can assure you, was not ours because it was at 4:30 in the morning and we were closed already and gone. So it could have been a car parked outside and all that. So as far as the noise issues, I mean, we haven't had any complaints since August of 2014. We have, you know, moved the speakers in and all that. So, I mean, that's one of the, you know, I guess as far as the DJs, you know, that we were talking about. Now, we used to have the radio station that would go out there with the vans, and I guess you're familiar with that. They put their speakers out and they promote the place. That is what we were talking about as far as like no live DJs in the patio, no live music. That way, all we have is just the speakers that are there, and since then we have not had any problems, period. We never received a citation for being loud either.
The DJ booth inside, will it stay or be removed?
Inside, I mean, what we're going to do is still keep it there. I mean, it's just music for the inside. We never had a trouble with as far as the inside of the building itself.
Well, I'm just saying because I was here at the P&Z hearing, and you're trying to be a restaurant, not a nightclub.
Well, as far as the DJ, I mean, we're just going to use it, and what we're doing is we're reducing the hours to 1 o'clock in the morning on Friday and Saturday from 2 o'clock. Okay, and the reason we're doing that is because I guess we want to keep the grill open till midnight or even later so people can go somewhere in Midland, eat, have a drink, and we're looking at having the type of people or attracting that type of crowd, the people that are going to go and want a place to eat and maybe hang out to about 1 in the morning.
So what time is your last call then? If you're closing at 1, what time are you going to give last call?
Most likely probably about 12:45, right around there. and that way we can get everybody served by 1 o'clock. But if it's not that busy, I mean, we're going to close up, but we just want to have the opportunity to do that.
And see, and again, give you a little comparison between your comments of the last item is that theirs was 7 days a week. And so yours is restricted just to the weekend.
Exactly. I mean, during the week, we're only open to.
And to 1 a.m. So that was the difference I had with the last item you came and spoke about. And yours right now is yours is a little bit more specific, just targeting the weekend times and not so much a Tuesday. So.
The Sunday through Thursday, it's midnight, and then just Friday and Saturday, 1 o'clock.
I also was at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, and what we saw there were a lot of people that were unhappy that came to speak. And there was the response of they have decreased the hours, they reclassified as a restaurant, which means they have to have 60% of their sales have to be in food, and 40% is all they're allowed in liquor. And that's a TABC will have to check on that, or else how do we check on it? Just TABC. So the instances have decreased, but and I think that the reason we don't see those people here at the council meeting is that they felt comfortable with what planning and zoning had suggested and felt like they had been heard. My understanding is that some of the noise, you didn't directly get those complaints because the complaints were called into the police department. So you didn't even know some of those had taken place.
I know, ma'am. I mean, but even if they were called to the police department, I mean, the last one that the police department has on record is from August of 2014.
That's right.
Mr. Rubio, how long have you owned this restaurant?
Since 2007.
So touch a little bit on the canopy issue outside.
The canopy issue?
On the patio.
Okay, that was put in, I would say, about 3 or 4 years ago. And it was put in by Lone Star.
Well, you put it in, removed it, and now we're doing fire sprinklers. So what's the history with that?
The history with that has been, I guess, as far as the city itself, and I guess if I have to go into the Noel, I mean, as far as the city itself, I mean, I think they're really specifically enforcing on our restaurant when they have let other restaurants that had opened up with, as far as, you know, let's say, it's called a classification A2. A2 means that if you have over 100 people, all that if you do any kind of improvement for the property, extend the roof line, is my understanding from the city planning department. And they could require a fire sprinkler system. As far as our canopy is fire resistant. And we have the documents for that also.
But the construction was done without a permit, is that correct?
The first time?
I believe so, because Lone Star was the one that did that, and they went and got the permit.
The error was on your part.
No.
Lone Star failed to secure the necessary permits, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I was just asking for
Sure. Okay, so let me be real clear and maybe blunt. There was some major concerns on the music and the loudness, so it needs to stop. And the neighbors around you are your neighbors, and they deserve the respect that they should get. So I don't want to get my message mixed up with what I stated on the last project. If you can do your best to keep that music down and turn the speakers in and everything you can to prevent loudness after, let's say, 11 p.m., I think that would be very respectful to your neighbors. Everybody wants you to be in business. We want you to operate and do whatever you want to do to your restaurant. But I think at the end of the day, I've gotten calls. We all gotten calls. And it was when you had the bands and you had the basketball and you had all that going on.
All right.
So it is our job, our responsibility to represent our constituents, and we need the level of noise to reduce. And we appreciate that you've taken efforts to bring crime or whatever, any call that have been made, you've reduced that. We really appreciate. We appreciate the 60-40 mix that you've gone to, the reduction of hours. I think that's all very helpful in showing your part, good faith on your part. So I think that probably would sum it up, is we can just get the outside noise level reduced.
Okay. We have worked on that, and like I said, we have not received a complaint since August of 2014, which has been almost about a year and so many months, about a year and a half or more.
Okay.
Solve that problem.
Very good.
I hope we did, and if not, I mean, we're willing to do work with actually, the ladies were here when we did the planning and zoning hearing, and I spoke to them after that, and I invited them to come to the restaurant to show what we had done.
Right.
I mean, so I did give them an invitation for that.
Great. Chief, are we good?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And Mr. Rubio, I'm your council person. You're in my district, so
Yes,
just,
ma'am.
I would be your contact anytime you've got any question. I'm going to move for approval, but I'm going to also ask that we put a review on it as we've done before with troubled places that were troubled, a 6-month review to where we just have it come back, we make sure of what police reports, etc. So that's what I would like to do. Just let you know.
That is fine, and I guess if we could maybe work with the police department on that to actually separate the incidents that are related to Sedona Grill versus somebody just getting pulled over in front of Sedona Grill and then it gets blamed on us.
And I think the Chief's Department does a good job of that.
Hopefully we won't have any
We fully
problem.
understand your concerns over that.
Okay.
So Charlotte, is this a 6-month temporary SUP?
Since just a 6 months.
Review.
It's a
That's what we ended up doing the last time we did this 6 months ago, which is why I think we're starting to see a lot of this council took a strong stance against establishments that were being restrained on our police department. And I'm not saying that you are anymore, but that's what the direction we're going. And the way that ordinance was written was a 6-month review. It didn't become a 6-month SUP.
That's right.
And so I would back Councilwoman Hotchkiss' 6-month review by council only. This doesn't need to go to
Right.
P&Z. It needs to come in front of council.
Okay, very good. This is I think we're good, and we appreciate your comments. This is anything else?
No.
Okay. This is a public comment period. Is still open. If you're wishing to speak, please come forward. If we need you again, we'll call you back up. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? All right, let's close the public comment period. Hearing. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I move for approval with the 6-month review.
Very good.
Okay.
By council.
By council.
I have a motion, second. Council, any more discussion?
Just quickly, I'd like to caution the council, it seems like we're seeing more and more of these SUP requests, and everybody comes in, and we cleaned our act up in the last 6 months, we're doing this, we're doing that now. We need to be more proactive in addressing these violations and these concerns, not just when an SUP comes around, because now, of course, everybody's gonna clean their act up, and we need to be more proactive in watching these things to term of the SUP.
I would completely agree. I think we saw a great example in the last establishment we did this, and I hope that trend continues. If not, then I'll be the first to say that we just deny their SUP altogether. If it was just an act for the 6 months, and then they just do what they want after that. But I think this council is doing a good job of sending a message that we're requiring establishments that serve alcohol to be responsible and contributing members to our community.
Including HEB.
Including HEB.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. There's no further discussion. Let's vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rubio, for your time, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you. Item 36.
An ordinance changing the zoning use classification of the property described as Lot 1, Block 2, Bankhead Addition, Section 2, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located northwest of the intersection of South Midkiff Road and Bankhead Highway, which is presently zoned C3 Commercial District, by permitting said property to be used under a specific use permit with term for the sale of all alcoholic beverages in a nightclub for on-premises consumption, making said permit subject to certain conditions and restrictions contained herein, containing a cumulative clause containing a savings and severability clause, providing for a maximum penalty or fine of $2,000 and ordering publication.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this request is being made by Graham Brothers Entertainment on behalf of the Club of Reba. This is another one that came up for review. We did looked at some of the activities down there, some of the concerns. There were quite a number of incidents that we identified and felt was a concern that they needed to renew through the normal process. Since that point in time, I know that the owners have worked hard with Chief Robinson to solve some of their issues. And I'd rather him give you a report on that current status, but we felt like they've been made aware of it. They have been working with staff to try and correct their problems. And because of that, we would recommend approval. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of this, but they put the 6-month review item on it because of the number of calls for service that have been identified at that property. I'd be happy to answer any questions, or if you ask Chief Robinson, he can give you an update.
In any conversations you've had with the applicant, Chuck, why are they, their last HUP went from 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and then from 12 p.m. to 2 a.m. Friday through Saturday. Now again, we're doing this blanket 7 days a week to 2 a.m. Why?
The response that we got on that was they're looking at trying to do, sometimes maybe have special parties or things like that. Go beyond closing.
And this establishment is clearly a bar and dance also. That's,
yes, sir.
I have more understanding of that, so I was just curious.
Yes, sir.
On the,
And it's not in the residential neighborhood. There is a hotel across the street.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, drive by almost every day, go out to my house and
the letter of objection in regards to the speaker vendor, do we get that resolved?
And did you visit with him about that? Okay, he's here.
Okay, we'll talk to him.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
There was also an issue with a mobile food vendor being set up there that was operating illegally. Has that been taken care of?
Yes, sir. We've addressed that mobile food vending issue. They're now in compliance.
Okay, well, let's then open up the public hearing, and if you speak, please give us your name and address. How you doing?
Good, thank you. My name is Roger Gerhardt. I'm the applicant. I live at 2104 Deanna here in Midland, 79707. And I appreciate your consideration for this. And we have been working with the chief and with staff. They've been excellent with us. And a lot of, like I'm with the guy from Sedona, a lot of these problems I didn't know I had, especially the noise. I didn't even know I had a noise problem until I got to planning. And when we got our notices from your staff that there was a complaint about the noise, I called the guy and I talked to him and told him I'd do whatever I had to make it not a problem. I think it's out in his shop, I think, is the best I could hear from him. And it's when we have bands on Friday night, and if we have to, whatever we have to do to make him happy, that's what we'll do, up to and including stopping the band. So we've been working hard with the chief, and I appreciate what you're saying about it's easy to come up here and say, I'm going to do it until you guys aren't looking, but that's not, we've been in business for for a very long time, and we want to do the right thing, and we're going to continue to always do the right thing as far as we can. So
from August 2013 to August 2015, the Midland Police Department was reporting 517 incidents, of which 15% or 79 of those were for public intoxication. 9% were 45 were for loud music complaints, and 29 reports of narcotics, 12 reports of assaults, 4 reports of DWI, and 3 reports of liquor law violations. And I've understand that you've started working with the chief now. You also own another establishment in our city. Why all of a sudden change of heart? Because obviously through that 24-month period is not a track record that I would consider.
We've always had off-duty Midland police working for us. You know, and we have a zero tolerance on things like narcotics and things like that. And where most people, if we see it or we know about it, we turn it over to the police. Where a lot of clubs you might not even hear about it. Mm-hmm. When the police see somebody that's over, if we can't get them a ride home, our last resort is I'd rather wrestle with them for violating their civil rights than have them hurt somebody on the field. I'll let the police take them and get the keys away from them, and if that's what it takes. But I feel like that's kind of a catch-22 with the police there to always, and we always try to do the right thing, and the police and the off-duty Midland police are there to handle all those situations. They have a different agenda than we do. We have a customer service, and I have to protect the public of Midland, and I have to react to it, in which we're behind them 100%, but that's where you get a laundry list of, it looks like we're a problem, which the police that work for us every day feel like we run a pretty clean establishment.
Okay. What is your policy on underage drinking? How do you identify them? And if you catch an individual that's drinking underage, what do you do with them?
We through meeting with the chief, we have been just we put an X on their hands, mm-hmm. and we have just been kicking them out and sending them home. But since we got this letter from the staff, what we've done is we hired what we call our undercover person that has the manager's text number, telephone number, and they walk through both of our establishments and look for minors that are drinking. They'll text the manager and they'll get the police, and we start a criminal trespassing them. So
Then do we do like minor in possession, minor in consumption?
that's correct.
I mean, when I was a minor, we called it the Mickey Mouse Club because they put M's on your hands,
That's exactly
and so I just want to make sure because we definitely don't want to breed a culture of allowing underage drinking, and I know that you've worked with the chief on a process to really start discouraging that. So I appreciate the steps that you and your company have made to move forward a establishment that's not really so much of a strain on our limited public safety resources. I would recommend that we also do a 6-month review period on this one as well. That comes back to council, but once we get through the public hearing, I'll do that up here.
That's more than fair.
Mr. Garrett, how many nights a week do you go to your establishment?
Well, every day they're open. It's only open 3 days a week.
You're there every day that they're open during the week?
Yes, sir.
That's good.
That's Thursday through Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, yes, sir.
And I noticed you did the 7 p.m. You have your outdoor establishment in the back. Do you?
We haven't used it in years.
Okay.
actually.
Very good. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The public comment period is still open. Anybody else have any wishing to speak? Okay, we'll close it, public hearing. Chief, anything you want to add? You're good? Good.
And Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make some amendments, and I know they already have police officers there. I just want to make it a part of the requirement of the SUP. It's nothing different from your business practice. So I'll like to move to approve as amended, requiring a minimum of 2 police officers. Peace officers, don't have to be police, Thursday through Saturday, and a 6-month review period by council.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion, second. Is there any further discussion? Let's vote.
The motion carries 6-0.
Mr. Gerhart, thanks for being here and answering those questions. Appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much.
37.
In order to change the zoning use classification of the property described as a 3,725 square foot portion, Lot 6C, Block 2, West Ridge Park Addition, Section 24, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located on the west side of North Loop 250 West, approximately 550 feet north of Dovo Boulevard, which is presently zoned PD, planned district for a shopping center by permitting said property to be used under a specific use permit with term for the sale of all alcoholic beverages in a restaurant for on-premises consumption, making said permit subject to certain conditions and restrictions contained herein, containing a cumulative cost, containing a savings and severability clause, providing for a maximum penalty or fine of $2,000 and ordering publication.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this request is being made on behalf of an Asian fusion restaurant that's wishing to locate in Midland. They are proposing alcoholic beverage sales for a restaurant only, with hours 11 a.m. to 9:30 Monday through Thursday, 11 to 10 on Fridays and Saturdays, and 11 to 9 on Sundays. They will have 3,725 square feet, of which only 2,725 square feet are serviceable, and a total of 181 seats. Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of this request, and the staff would concur.
I have 0 problems with this issue.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Chuck? All right, this is a public hearing. Again, if you're wishing to speak, please come forward, state your name and address. Okay, no one wishing to speak, we'll close the public hearing. We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion, questions? If not, let's please vote.
Very reasonable request.
The motion carries unanimously.
Item 38.
An ordinance granting a special exception for Lot 4, Block 5, Green Hill Terrace, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located on the south side of Tanforan Avenue, approximately 110 feet west of Saratoga Drive, by permitting a reduced side yard setback containing a cumulative clause containing a savings and severability clause, providing for a maximum penalty or fine of $2,000, ordering recordation by the city secretary in the deed records of Midland County, Texas, and ordering publication.
It's not every day, Chuck, we get pictures with snow in them.
That's true. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this request is being made for a special exception that the staff concurs that it probably is a special exception that the property owner can create themselves. They were annexed into the city, annexed as AE property, while most of the structures in there were built more along the F1, F2 standards. No way the structures were there that could meet that standard. The applicant is seeking to add an addition to this home that really doesn't create any more than is already, part of the structure is already in that zone, in that setback, and he's not encroaching anymore. He's maintaining the setback that the existing structure has. This kind of gives you an indication of where the issue is. This portion, as I recall, it's this portion right here. And it's not a creation. It's not a situation he created on his own. And so from that standpoint, the staff would support this request for a special exception in this case. It truly is a hardship on this properties in this area that has been existing.
When was the original structure built?
Oh, I don't know. That was annexed. The building was constructed in 1959.
Okay, so I mean, this is grandfather in the Greenbelt.
Yes, sir. We really probably ought to look at the whole area and see if it's really it is really AE, because it's not. None of the structures have to qualify.
Questions?
No.
Okay. It's a public hearing. We're going to open the public hearing. If you're wishing to speak, please come forward. No one wish to speak, we'll close the public hearing. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any comments, discussions? Let's vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Item 39.
The zoning use classification of the property described as Lot 3, Block 45, Fairmount Park Addition, Section 13, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located on the south side of West Loop 250 North, approximately 750 feet west of Henry Coons Boulevard, which is presently zoned PD Planned District for a shopping center by permitting said property to be used under a specific use permit with term for the sale of all alcoholic beverages in a movie theater for on-premises consumption, making said permit subject to certain conditions and restrictions contained herein, containing a cumulative clause containing a savings and severability clause, providing for a maximum penalty or fine of $2,000 and ordering publication.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council.
For the last time.
This is a request by Regal Licensing or Hollywood Theaters for the sale of alcoholic beverages for on-premises consumption in the theater there. This property is stated as at 4915 West Loop 250. The proposal is not the first time we've seen this type of request. We had one for the Synergy Theaters in 2012. Just one is one has come in. They're asking for some hours to go from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. And 12 to 2 on Sundays. By comparison, the Synergy Theaters all days was 12 p.m. to 2 a.m. in their operations. The total area to be served consists of 45,432 square feet, which includes the lobbies, halls, and theaters. There are no churches or schools located within 300 feet of the site, And as of last week, we have not received any objections. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Chuck,
I have a question, Chuck.
Yes, sir.
How can, if this is granted, how can the applicant or the city make sure that people are taking alcoholic beverages out the back door? You know, you have the option to leave or move to the front, and there's that back door where you can go and go directly to your car.
I'm not familiar with this theater, but I understand what you're saying. I would assume it's an operational management condition. I mean, we could be out there maybe and catch somebody doing that, but it's more of an operational, much like HEB. Their operations say you won't get past this point with alcoholic beverages, and I assume that they would monitor that.
And I hate to put you on the spot, but does Synergy have that type of situation where you might have the ability to have your drink and go out a different way? I see he's nodding in the, Steve's nodding yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this establishment going to serve, the other one serves food. Is this one just going to do popcorn and
I
candy?
see popcorn food, Mr.
Well,
Lawson.
I like a good bag of popcorn with the rest of them, but I'm just saying if we're going to comparison, because I have a problem with the 10 a.m. start. I mean, you've already,
I understand that, yes, sir. I don't know what, as I said, I've never been in this theater, so I have no idea what types of foods, if they serve hot dogs or
Okay.
things like that.
I hope the applicant is here.
I don't know the applicant, so I hope he is too.
Is the applicant here? Well, I went online and checked it, and it says snacks. And and this is really the defining difference between the two, because Synergy, it typifies itself as a dinner theater. And it serves substantial food, hamburgers, pizzas,
Yes, ma'am.
and other items, where this would be, I'm not sure you could even get a hot dog. Thank you.
Well, to take the counterpoint, bars, actual bars, I know this is neither a restaurant or a bar, but bars serve snacks also.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I like I said, I think we should definitely be consistent on what we've done with the other one. Like I said, my only problem is the 10 a.m. start Monday through Saturday. I think it should be 12 to 2 a.m. every day.
I don't think we need to be consistent with it. I think there are so few places that our children can go and not have alcohol around them. I don't think we should do this. And I'm speaking, it's not your grandma Charlotte, but I will speak as a mother and a grandmother that I would rather have a place where children in Midland could go and not have alcohol be a part of that experience. And that is what this theater is really truly, that's what we say, it's a family-friendly environment. I don't think of this as family-friendly. And as y'all know, I voted for all the alcoholic SUPs. It's not because I have an aversion to alcohol. I have an aversion to alcohol in this circumstance.
Very good.
Okay, thank you. We haven't opened that up, right? It's a public hearing. If you're wishing to speak, come forward, state your name and address, please. Afternoon.
Good afternoon. Tommy Hale, 5112 Anetta Drive, here in Midland, proud pastor of the Mount Calvary Missionary Baptist Church here. I have a question to the council and to those with Synergy and with Regal. I have a problem if it's open carry in a movie theater and with the sale of alcohol.
Very good point.
I just retired from the U.S. Department of Justice with the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and I live across the street from Synergy, and that's a grave concern. Movie theaters, concealed or open, and with the sale of alcohol. I'm totally, absolutely against it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Hale, before you leave, I'd just like to maybe take time for a little point of order. The last time Mr. Hale was here, he said a prayer for us to open up our session. Immediately after that, he was in a very, very almost life-threatening car wreck. And at that time, I had mentioned that we needed to acknowledge what had happened to him. So I'd just like to take the time to say, I am so glad to see you here, standing there.
Thank you. Thank you. praise God, and just a brief synopsis. Just on my way to work, gentleman, 6 in the morning, decided to drink, hit a FedEx 18-wheeler truck, came across the median, hit me head on. Y'all looking at a man who was once in a wheelchair, hospitalized 62 days, hard stop, 5 minutes, crossed over, followed my guide on my way to heaven. But then God had other plans for me. So, and I would challenge all of you all. The gospel says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all else will be added unto you. So in all your decisions, if you stop and ask God for direction, he will lead and guide you. And I don't apologize if I'm offending any other religion that don't believe. I don't apologize for it. But I thank you all for your prayers. But yes, I stand here right now with 8 titanium rods inside of me. And one of my deacons, he's back there in the back where you're married, my right leg was wrapped behind my back, all because of a drunk driver. So I have a lot of sensitive issues with alcohol because what happened to me, about what happened to me. But I'm totally against anything, as we know. We've had a lot of incidents across our country, and I just spoke to the chief back there, and I know this makes him very nervous as well, but we got a mixture of alcohol and guns. If we don't know, we need to find out very quickly. I'm gonna have to leave out. My wife and I going to the movie right now. And the government said I'm still authorized to carry my 9. It's outside. I have my license and everything with it. But seriously, with the sale of alcohol, and we don't know if these people can bring firearms in or not. Somebody get into an argument about something, and any of us can be there with just sitting and watching a movie together or something, and something can happen. And that can be one of us. Or that can be one of us on the way home, or on the way out to our job, of what happened to me. But God had other plans for me. Okay. Any other questions for me, any concerns?
We need to get you back on the prayer rotation.
Yes, at your next meeting, put me down, somebody make a call, I'll do your next prayer. But I'm gonna be late for this movie date with my wife. You know. But I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna sit and listen to discussion about this gun and alcohol. I'm gonna sit for a few more minutes.
You know Star Wars?
No, we're going to see some other movie. I don't know.
Whatever she says.
Whatever she says. I'm really enjoying retirement. I thank you guys for prayers and everything, acknowledgement, Councilman Love. But I'm gonna sit and listen because I think that's something major we need to find out. Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
John, that brings up, you can't carry inside of a bar. So can you do that if they serve alcohol? How's the law?
So CHL, restaurant you can have a CHL, and if the establishment allows the open carry, you can have it. It has to be posted on the door. And then, but CHL has always been in existence.
That poster, they can ask you to leave it if they have a box.
Right. So the public hearing is still open. Anyone else wishing to speak?
I would like to say also, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
also puts the private security or the city of Midland police officer in great danger as well.
Yes.
You can have someone come in the wintertime with an overcoat on, 2 or 3 firearms under them, get inside the movie theater, they get drunk, get mad, and that puts a lot of people in danger, a lot of folks in danger. Thank you.
Okay, Cameron. Yeah, I'm gonna close the public hearing. No one else wishes to speak. Council discussion.
Well, of course, we bring it up to this, at this point, but the way I see it, it can happen anywhere. That can happen anywhere.
To any restaurant in this.
Any restaurants, any place, any place.
Well, from my standpoint, I would expect that those that have a license would be responsible. And so you're more likely to have it from someone that is an unlicensed carrier. But I appreciate what Councilwoman Starla Hotchkiss had to say about just having a place that our kids could go and not have alcohol around. kind of hit home with me. That makes a lot of sense.
It's tough. It'd be nice to have one place that didn't
Well, I do understand,
I know.
I think it's a little arbitrary.
have. Me too.
But then, yeah, it goes back to
When
that.
you talk every SUP you ever review, maybe should have to take consideration.
Well, there is a little bit of a difference when all you're going to be doing is serving snacks and alcohol
And children.
and having it in a movie theater. A movie theater is known for having more kids in it than Club Reba.
Well, there's age restrictions there, but I mean, apple to oranges on that one.
I certainly understand.
Yeah, but and
It's a tough one. Bottom line.
I'm sure have a nice park system that's out of all three.
we do have a nice park system that's out in that front.
It seems like to me, I would hate to deny a business the legal right to conduct business. What if we ask the applicant to possibly consider modifying the hours? Because I can't see kids at 10 o'clock at night. I know, even though some parents do, there's not a lot as you would have in the day. So maybe a compromise would be to possibly moderate their hours. I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, I definitely will make a motion to amend to modify their hours from 12 p.m. to 2 a.m., just like the other SUP, because I have a problem with the 10 a.m. start. But as far as waiting until 10 p.m. to allow sales, something I don't support. I can understand all the members of council's concerns here, but I always try to look back at what was done in the past by previous councils, and to level the playing field for this applicant with the other competition in town, they are definitely at a competitive disadvantage by doing this, but I'm willing to give them the same hours and the same SUP that we gave the other one.
I agree with 100%. I do understand the concerns.
So I would like to move to approve as amended, changing the hours of operation Sunday through Saturday from 12 p.m. to 2 a.m.
This is serving.
Serving
12 p.m. to 2.
Yeah, right now it's 10 a.m.
Oh, I see.
Monday through Saturday.
It's a max of the current synergy SUP.
12 noon to 12 midnight?
2 a.m.
To accommodate those movies to start at 12 and last to
2:30. I don't go to those.
It's tough. It's a business, that's the only problem.
Well, but, that's our job. We're supposed to protect our citizens in any way that we can. And like I say, I'm not against SUPs for alcohol beverage. But in this circumstance, this is an area where people's children, and you could drop them off and feel comfortable leaving your children. But if there are alcoholic beverages being sold, that puts a different slant on leaving your children in the theater. I know Synergy allows it. I wasn't on council then. I'm on council now.
Well, my only comment is that I do rely on the citizens and constituents to give me feedback, so I hope I'm going to vote for it because it's a business, and I hope between now and then I'll get some feedback and better understanding how the community feels about it.
Well, I think synergies, I don't think we've had any complaints on synergy in their SUV.
So, Chief, do you mind? It refreshed me. Both of these establishments on the weekends at nights have off-duty officers, don't they?
I believe just Synergy.
This Synergy, was that required in, John, was that required in Synergy's? One recall. Anybody?
I think it should require it. It's a good question. Yeah.
We can always,
we'll find out.
Yeah. We've got a second.
Here, I'd like to know how they plan on keeping the minors from having alcohol while they're there.
Same as any. I can trust you. They would ID your grandma going at the Synergy they do. I mean, they ID
I
everyone.
wouldn't know.
just letting you know.
Okay, we have motion second.
I just have one comment. I'd like to encourage staff to reach out to this applicant and see if they can take into consideration open carry and what we might possibly be potentially improving. Because that is something that, I think like the kids, I understand that, but that is something that I think that they need to have a defined, clear policy or plan moving forward.
We just need to hear what their policy is on CHL open carry.
So you have to ask that question of every restaurant then also. I mean, it's the same idea, right?
Well,
So restaurants,
it's already posted.
I will say this.
theaters, concentrated people.
Yeah, and in light of what's happening in other theaters across the country, I think they ought to have a real policy
Yeah.
with open carry.
And I think the mayor indicated that the restaurants do, it's up to the restaurant either they allow it or they don't. So I think they do.
As well.
Every
I'm just saying,
business.
encourage them to do that. I don't know if they're thinking that or not, but.
Okay, I know it's a touchy situation. All right, let's vote.
Motion carries 5-2.
Okay, item 40, consider a motion appealing the building official's denial of a sign permit application by Chevron located at 6301 Doble Boulevard, Midland, Texas.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Chevron is appealing the denial of their sign permit for their new campus at 6301 Deauville Boulevard. Currently, they had originally applied for 3 freestanding signs over 2 frontages, and a maximum of 1 is allowed. Since that time, they've withdrawn their request for that extra freestanding sign. So the request now boils down to the 3 foot by 5 foot directional signs that they're requesting. In our ordinance, directional signs, as you know, are restricted to 4 square feet. This is significantly larger. I know that in their application they talked about TxDOT approves this size or whatever, but this is a local street. And so, you know, from the staff standpoint, we see no issue there in a readability. We found no justification for it. They didn't present any evidence that we see constitutes a hardship. And so we would recommend denial, from the staff standpoint, denial of this permit.
Now, all of these directional signs are well within the applicant's property, correct? This is not on any frontage road, it's not on anything.
They are, yes, sir.
And it's mainly to better, I guess, direct traffic on their property. I mean, this, to the appropriate place. And I support granting this appeal just for the simple fact of the commitment that Chevron has made to this community, commitment that they've made, and the cost of that new campus out there. I can understand. I think, you know, in certain situations when you become on roadways and everything like that, the applicant should have the right, well within their own property, to direct their traffic the way they want to. It's a large complex, and they are a great community corporate player for us. So I think we need to definitely support what they're trying to do out there, because let's face it, right now during the cooling period, there's not very many companies that are building these type of establishments. So
I'm all in favor of allowing the sign. So
I want to make sure that when I go visit, that I'm going to the right place. And I don't want chicken receiving in my parking lot.
Well, I support the staff's comments. I mean, we have rules because we have rules. And we don't make, we don't give exceptions to the rules because of how much the building costs. I mean, that has nothing to do with it. In this case, I do think that the traffic will be going slowly. There's no need to have it any larger. They can read as they come in. And I support Chevron wholeheartedly, but I'm going to support the staff's recommendation.
I mentioned, I think that the size and the cost of this building doesn't necessarily fall within the new ordinance. I think it's one of those that sits a little bit outside.
Right.
We should be given special consideration, but I do understand, Cheryl.
yeah, I do too.
And I just think, I think because of where it sits, I think the sign size is appropriate for what they're requesting.
Yeah, and there,
I don't care what, I agree, I don't care what the building costs.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
But so would the smaller sign be okay. So,
I think development has changed, and I think that my sign would
see a lot of things that we do, so I think we need to address it,
We are we?
I'm sorry?
Are we working on the sign?
We've been doing some, looking at it and taking a look at it. We haven't come forward with anything. We're trying to get
We'll need to definitely spend some time.
the comp plan and the zoning ordinance and get those hammered out and then come back to
It
it.
got pushed aside while the other things were going, but as soon as we get these other ordinances out of the way, I'd like to build a subcommittee that readdresses this, because I feel that our current ordinance when it comes to this type of signage is just inadequate for our growing community.
Yeah, and if I read that right, it's less than 4 foot tall. It's on the ground. Once you get inside their complex, you're not really seeing that from the street.
I think the sign ordinance was written to prevent nuisances, and these are not flashing, 5-year signs. These are well done and reasonable.
Oh, okay, we got a motion in a second. We got it. All right.
Yeah. Hungry?
Okay.
The motion carries 6-1.
All right, item 41.
An ordinance vacating and abandoning a 10.7901 acre portion of a drainage easement located in section 42, block 38, Township 1 South, TMP Railroad Company, Survey County of Midland, Texas, generally located on the west side of County Road 1160, approximately 1/4 mile south of Business Interstate Highway 20, adopting the appraisal by the city manager of $21,580.20 and ordering recordation by the city secretary.
Morning, Council. Mr. Mayor. We were approached by Rangeland Energy, and this is in addition to their previous easements they were requesting that we vacate. This is a drainage easement, and they own a roughly 15-acre tract in that drainage easement, and they're requesting that we vacate the portion of the tract that falls outside of the 100-year floodplain.
Okay.
Any questions? Good. And staff recommends approval of this.
Questions? It's an ordinance. All right. Got a motion? Second? There's no further discussion. Let's vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Item 42.
An ordinance amending Title 8 Establishments of Health and General Sanitation, Chapter 6, Garbage, Trash, and Rubbish, Section 24, charges for dumping or unloading at sanitary landfill operated by the City of Midland of the City Code of Midland, Texas, so as to increase the rates charging for dumping or unloading at the sanitary landfill facility operated by the City of Midland, and to eliminate the state permit fee of $1.25 per ton, providing for a maximum penalty or fine of $1,000 containing an escalation clause, containing a cumulative clause, containing a savings and severability clause, and ordering publication.
Hey. Sorry.
Good afternoon, Council, Mayor. This is just cleaning up some verbiage in our ordinance. It's going to wrap that $1.25 state fee that we're charged for by the state for each ton of waste that's brought to the landfill. It's going to put it all inclusive in our fee and make it a lot cleaner as we go into our new system.
Even more, just to clarify, this is not increasing anybody's cost for their trash pickup or residential at all.
No, sir, not at all.
Good deal.
Good. All right. As always, good job, Morris. Thank you. Yeah, we've got a motion, second. Any other discussion? Let's vote.
The motion carries 6-0.
Is anyone here for item 43? To discuss item 43? Okay. Item 43, discuss the possible issuance of certificates of obligation for the purpose of paying for the construction, improvement, and acquisition of public works and equipment. The discussion may include the potential amount of certificates of obligation, as well as potential public works projects such as streets, drainage, park and recreational facilities, police facilities, and communication information technology improvements and equipment. This item is for discussion only. No action will be taken.
I'd like to just hear public comment?
We could do that.
Or otherwise, have a more discussion?
Yeah, because I think we want to kind of visit on that. Hello?
No, it's not a public hearing.
Well, I think he's here for discussion. Yeah. Okay.
I'm just handing out updated sheets. You should have received 3 sheets. One is the list of the projects. You've had this sheet before. There hasn't really been any change, as well as the one that we had planned to take from non-appropriated fund balance. We had been asked to do a list of bond issuance, and so we did a quick list that you perhaps got back in December. We have been since spent a little bit more time, got a more defined list of bond issues that we've issued, and so that's just updating the list that you've gotten before. And the last piece of paper that I gave you was we had a request by a council person to review bond issues going back. And so we went back to 2001 and found the different projects that were funded under the bonds. We were surprised we managed to get back to 2001. Once a project's closed, we kind of lose track of it, and it just becomes a debt issue, a debt service issue for us. But those were the information that you had requested, or various council people. I wanted to be sure that all council people have the same information for your decision-making process. Also wanted to let you know that as of yesterday, our bond rating got reaffirmed by Finch at AAA. So it's taking a little bit of the pressure off of our fund balance. We do currently, unaudited fund balance is about $48 million. But it may open up some options for you as far as spending from fund balance versus borrowing money for your decision to make how much you want to keep track of that.
What amount of fund balance could this council spend down to that still maintain our rating?
Councilman, we would be comfortable between $8 to $10 million to spend down that fund balance. That would keep us at right at 35% of the fund balance. And as Pam said, I think it is worth noting that we did get reaffirmed our AAA rating, even though we're in a down economy. And that's Finch's way of saying that the city, you know what you're doing, and you've got the controls necessary to live in this down economy. So, pat yourselves on the back and finance on the back because we were anticipating that rating to go down just based on the climate that we're in.
Mr. Sharp, with the continued decreases that we're seeing in our sales tax revenue of about 20%, we're hopeful that trend reverses and it's not as severe. If it is severe, our budgeted amount was $39.9 million of sales tax revenue. Will we need to be dipping into the unappropriated fund balance to make up that shortfall, or will we cut in other budgeted areas?
Yeah, it's going to be probably staff's recommendation that we cut in other areas, capital areas that are budgeted in this current budget. We have we look at that very closely. We do have a consultant that monitors that for us every time the sales tax comes out. Right now, we are still projecting that we'll hit budgeted. But again, as the months go on and as we see those trends, we will react accordingly. And our goal is to not have to dip into the unappropriated fund balance to operate the city.
And I think we'll have a good telltale will be next month's numbers when they're released to see how strong December spending was, to see in March as well, because you get a lot of gift cards. we'll see what type of disposable income was out there for Santa Claus gifts and for presents. And if it's lower than we anticipate, I think that'll be a good sign of the trend is going to continue, and that we need to be mindful of that. I'm optimistic that they're better than they seem to be going, but it's definitely going to have an impact on future budgets and impact on our spending pattern for the next couple of years.
Generally, where does the funds from the unappropriated fund balance come from?
There are the remaining funds. You get your revenue in, you take your expenses out, and any difference. So if you get, in the last few years, of course, we've gotten in more revenue than we had budgeted or that we've spent. And so the extra just flows down to the bottom. As revenues get down and budget continues to hold, there'll be less money flowing down to the bottom. The increase in the appropriated fund balance should go less.
The majority of that money, the difference between what we assess in taxes and what we spend in our general fund, or is it the result of previous CEO capital improvement projects with CEOs that money wasn't spent?
No, there's very little money that comes back from, if I'm understanding the question, there's very little money that comes back from capital projects back into the general fund. Usually what we budget is spent on the project. Now, we had an exception this last year because of closing down trade winds, because we had some additional funds come in that actually ended up going back to NBC for another project, but that was the exception. Sometimes years we see maybe 100,000 from a series of projects come back that are left in balances into the fund, but usually it's very little that comes back into the fund.
I just want to know one question. Councilman Lacey was referring to the budget process and the fact that sales tax, because of the economy, the price of oil might potentially be dropping, but and I know that affects the overall budget, but we base our CEO's not on sales tax, but on property tax. Is that correct?
Correct. We look at property tax as being the source to pay off the tax obligated.
So our ability to issue debt or pay debt is not a function of sales tax, but it's more a function of property tax.
Correct. It's paid by property tax. And property tax is a much more stable revenue stream. It doesn't go up and down as fast as sales tax could in an economic condition.
So, absent a mass exodus or deterioration of property, our property taxes are going to be reasonably stable.
The assessed valuation, I feel, will probably hold at least at what it is. In fact, I think next year, come this next August, we might even see a little bit of an increase because we have some big projects like Chevron that's not hit the tax rolls yet.
And it won't hit the tax rolls till 17 because they weren't occupying it January 1. So the Occidental will hit this tax roll.
Right.
Chevron won't hit for 2 months.
What we're projecting over for what will be the 2017 and then the 2018, I think we'll maintain our property valuations. So for the next 2 budget years, I think we'll maintain. Now, if we continue to have the downturn, we will see a decrease in property valuations. But
2 years from now.
Probably 2 years from now.
And then to go back to what you said, Councilman Love, 1/3 of our budget is determined by sales tax. And so the only way to make up that shortfall is to raise your property taxes. And so, or cut the budget significantly, but as a growing community, 63% of our budget is tied to personnel costs. The city of Midland we're a service company. We offer a service to our consumer. And if with a 20% drop, let's just put your numbers, we're around $44 million last year in sales tax revenue. Right, Pam?
On a cash basis.
On a cash basis. So you're looking at about $8 to $9 million shortfall. Well, we budgeted 39.9, and that wasn't until this council cut 1.6 from the 41.5. And so it is very possible, and I hope I'm wrong, but it is very possible that our sales tax revenue is 35 to 36 million, projecting a $3 to $4 million shortfall. And that has to be made up somewhere else to continue offering the same level of services that we had or what we do is we cut back on capital improvements, we cut back on the mill and overlay program, we cut back on offering the essential services and maintaining the infrastructure we already currently have in place. So that's my hesitation. I understand exactly how COs are done, that we're on our about $11.4 to $11.5 billion property valuation. And we had the large bump this last year because of Pam and Ron back there finding out that we weren't taxing all the mineral valuations. And so we have, which is only around 250 million, which gives us a little bit difference than all the other entities because the large majority of their property valuation is tied to minerals. And so that helps us out. So I agree that we should stay around the 11.4 to 11.5 this next budget cycle. But right now, the posted for oil is under $30. If that sticks around for a while, it puts a strain on the oil and gas industry and our economy as a whole. That's just my point at this time.
And it's all assumption. Everything you've ever saying is assumption. So
yeah.
What about the interest rate? We hadn't talked about that. Is it going to hold? Right now we're seeing lows. And what are you forecasting?
I think in the near future, you'll see interest rates go up. Not greatly, but you'll start to see it. As the Fed starts to raise the rate, the market's gonna want higher interest rates for the risk that they're gonna take. Governmental debt, of course, is one of the low things because there's not a lot of risk in governmental debt. So 4% to 4.5% maybe in the next few years. We're at about 3.75 now for governmental debt.
So have you visited with, have y'all visited about possibility if we pulled any of these out and paid with the unappropriated? For example, I'm just saying,
I think you should.
I mean,
and the reason that you would do that is because if you take it out, you only get 2/3 of the value of what you're getting. So, you know, if it costs you $2 million to build, by the time you pay interest, it's $3 million. Why would you do that if you have a fund balance that would allow you to do it? And you've got an unappropriated fund balance that will allow you to do it.
You can say that about any year.
Absolutely.
And the reason why is because that's what we've been doing since 2001. That's the process.
But why would you want to? If you have the money that you can do some of the projects, why?
It's just
So
a
let's just
question on
answer
where
the
the city
question,
places
yes.
the value of its money. Is it on a rainy day fund? Do you
Yeah.
have your mortgage, or do you save, or do
I
you
would
just
say this is
make an argument on that's a
I would
decision
say
down
this
the
is kind of rainy day right now.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, let's ask.
That's my reason. He asked what my reason is. My reason is because it costs less. If you do it
I understand. I mean, some people might place more value on the security of that money in the event of something unspeakable happening. Some might place more value on that, and you have that focus like we all.
What unspeakable?
That's why you don't speak it.
Well, but I kind of agree with Cal, but let's look, for example, right here, the Washington Pool upgrade, which I think is very much needed.
Thank you.
But that can be completely paid for by the repurposing of the 4B. So it doesn't require us issuing any debt.
The only problem I have with that is one, we haven't even begun to start doing or rolling out the 4B. Two, it's January and we're going to be 4B. We don't have this coming May. Don't want to do it in November or next May. And so, you know, that to me is delaying enough a necessary and much needed upgrade.
Well, let's ask this question, Councilman. So let's just say for purpose that the 4B does pass in May. Could we then begin to remove monies from the 4B to pay for any projects?
I don't.
Or in the general fund, you pay back.
So we know that's 12 million left after payoff.
Right.
In June 1st, could we do
Really, that 12 million, let's say that the 4B goes away altogether, that 12 million goes back into the general fund. If the 4B is repurposed, then you could just keep that 12 million into the 4B account.
So then could the 4B board make a decision to fund the Washington Park?
after the 4B is reauthorized, they could.
Well, let me ask you that.
Before, well, you're gonna have 12 million to come back to the unappropriated fund balance, are you not?
It doesn't pass.
If it doesn't pass.
No, just by paying off, you said we could pay off the sports complex, and you have 12 million left over, comes into the general fund.
What he's saying, either way you have money, you have 12 million.
Right, you could.
So they could commit.
But that 12 million, we need it for M&O.
But let me ask you, well, we probably wouldn't want that for him, but let me ask you this. I mean, as far as these projects, how specific do we have to get on some of these projects? I mean, like if, just plain devil, if 4B doesn't pass, which some guys are saying, let's use that for Washington Park. And if we don't fund Washington Park here, well, then you could be 2 years out. Well, it can never be done, actually.
Well, no, you can always.
And so how specific of a project do you have to have in these COs? Or I should say unspecific before you can use some of the money for Washington Park.
You have to do your
See what I'm
notice.
saying?
You have to do your notice of intent, and you have to categorize pricing by categories.
Right.
So park and rec, street, you have to give the public information of where you intend to spend that money.
But if you just said parks, is that specific enough? Because I guess my point is I'm trying to get out of being maybe so specific to where we could use money.
Yeah, those
in
notices,
Washington Park if 4B didn't pass. I'm just trying to figure out a different way to work
those
this.
notices are very broad. I say very broad, but the generic. So they'll say road and drainage improvements. Well, we might have the idea that we're going to go and
Mockingbird, it could be
build
great.
Mockingbird, and there might be, when we go build Mockingbird, there might be some money left over, so we go do another project. So
Right.
they're pretty generic.
Okay, because I know we've made them generic in the past, to work everything in our budgets over the years when money's a little bit tighter. And I just want to make sure that we don't get too specific on things that we might tie our hands.
Of course, I don't know, that doesn't change whether you're gonna spend $4 million on Washington Park.
Or 6.2.
Well, you said if 4B doesn't pass, then you wouldn't be, Washington Park would never get done. Why wouldn't, if 4B doesn't pass, then you can do a CO the following year, or later in this year even. I mean, it doesn't, to say that if it's not done now, it will never ever get done, is just.
We're just delaying it several
Yeah.
years. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because it's we're talking like
You wouldn't have to necessarily delay.
So they said it would take 2 years to design and build from whatever point.
Earlier, I was going to comment about what Washington Park upgrades means to my district in that neighborhood. And I'm sensitive to council's hesitance of issue bonds and down oil market. This is extremely important, and if we can find a way to address Washington Park, then I think that will raise some of my concerns. This is so important because it's going to affect that neighborhood region in ways which I'm sure you all already are aware of. One, Washington Pool Park upgrades is going to increase the property values all around everything in the city as well as the property owners. Two, we got a lot of vacant lots in our area, and I've been encouraging the free market to go in and build lots there. So that will continue because people will want to have a home near a wonderful recreational facility. And the third thing is that the traffic that will generate helps the business. We have few businesses over there along East Road and Lee Street. So that traffic coming through the neighborhood going to Washington Boulevard is instrumental. In all those scenarios, the city of Midland benefits because of increased increased property taxes and possibly increased sales taxes. So it's really an important project for me.
Not to mention it's fun.
Yeah.
So,
I guess I'm just looking at the projects, and I'm just trying to figure out where we pare back. And I'm seeing things that I can't see where we pare back in.
Which, if you look at the history, please give me this minute out. We actually got to a point where debt was a little bit higher every issue, and since the last two issues, we've dropped down in our debt. So I think city staff is very good about planning for capital improvement projects. Again, the reason why you do them is because you don't want to pull that big chunk of change. So I think that's
I could say, Scott, to answer your question, you could pull Dennis the Menace and Neighborhood Playground right now, because I'm confident 4B is going to pass. And we could look at that scenario. I'm definitely believe that we need to support street and drainage in CSID. Most definitely. It needs to be priorities.
So is it debt period or is it the amount of debt?
I can say from what Pam has given us, if absent 4B, which was their 35.9 million, from 1991 to 2006, utilities, everything, we averaged 7.54 million per year debt. From 2007 to current, we averaged 15.12 million per year debt, new debt that we're taking on as an average.
See, that's growing. A population that continues to grow has never seen a decrease in population.
I got what you're saying. I understand that, but to cover a debt like this, if you don't continue to grow, you can't cover it. And so I am suggesting that the growth could slow down.
Since 1950, though, this city has continued to grow. There's only been one time in that period that it's only dropped.
During that time, from 1991 to 2006, we had 7.54 million per year average in debt. So to say that you're going to grow at the rate that we had in the last
I'm defending the spending. The spending has been spent on a infrastructure and development of this community, which we're still behind. How do we stay ahead?
And that's how we.
How do we get ahead of the game?
That's how we manage.
We're going to have more fatalities on this road if we don't build more roads and get more roads designed.
And you don't even have that much in roads in here.
I know. Thank you. You're answering that.
Bringing up the roads.
That's good. I mean, that's a classic example. Street drainage. We saw the comprehensive plan. I guarantee you, once you get in there, drainage is going to be a major issue. Annexation is going to be the next discussion we're going to have. And we're not keeping up. We're only getting further behind.
I think there's a balance. I think there's a balance between Mayor, your point, and Mr. Sparks. I think we'll find when it comes down to it. Obviously, we can't issue
No, we can't.
inordinate amount of debt. And obviously, we maybe can be in a position not to issue any debt for some of these large capital projects that would burden our general fund. But
Most
again,
definitely.
I think there's going to be a balance between what we're talking about. I have a quick question. From a procedural standpoint, when we do, and if we see these items, can we take a single vote on each one of the line items instead of a group vote? Is that procedurally possible? And then a final vote on the COs? I feel like it's going to be either you're in or you're out on the CO. And at this point, it's looking like it. You know, we've got a lot of support for the $34 million. So whatever the ordinance reads or whatever the packet will read, might be the only chance we get to, now of course we can make amendments in the time, but again, from a procedural standpoint, I think it might be easier to
And that's
solve
what I'm
a
saying,
line item and then a final vote on the CO.
I
I just
would-
don't want to be put in a position whether either I'm in or I'm out, and that very well may happen, depending on the wording in the ordinance.
My sense on that, Mr. Robnett, is that the council certainly could vote on projects independently, but I think we would need to have that squared away as to, that vote squared away as to what the council wanted, or at least a majority of the council wanted brought back in the notice, because we need to get that to the bond council, and we need to get the bond councils on board with what our notice is going to look like and what the issuance is going to look like.
John, could you not do that when you do your notice of intention to issue?
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed, because you'll go through there and you'll line it, you'll know exactly what the total amount's gonna be.
Yeah, if we got a high end that we could provide them.
I'm not saying we couldn't, but again, bond council's real sensitive to the process, because if they don't sign off, you're not going to be issuing it.
I understand that. I'm just sensitive to a block vote for everything, or 90% of these things. I think a line item vote might provide us a little more chance to discuss and express our opinion.
You're talking about 19.9 million that affects that water tax rate. There's 2.5 for the golf course. The only people that pay for that are the ones that play golf. The only ones that go out there, and if they need more money, they'll raise the grid fee on us to pay for that debt. It's a user fee, and it's only paid for the people that use it. If you don't pay golf, you don't pay for it. And their budget is a self-sustaining enterprise, so.
That's why I want to have a line item discussion and vote for that exact reason.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize that was what we were going to do today, but as council, we had mentioned, we talked about, you know,
Talked about having
wants versus needs. So I'm not saying that we have to do it right here today, but I mean, I'm pretty sure my constituents would, you know, like to know what's going to happen to the project that they have been counting on. It was told 2 years ago that they were next in line.
You're still next in line.
Well, you know,
Washington Park doesn't go away, regardless. It does. That conversation, in my opinion, is as strong as it's today or 5 months from now.
Well,
But
If you have me at a blow, I'll shut up.
well, yeah, because, you know, my constituents said they were going to get traded with, they're not. And I'm fine with that being honest. But I don't think anyone on this council is saying that Washington Pool does not need to be upgraded.
No, not at all.
okay. So I don't think we're getting any movement here. So yeah.
But no action can be taken anyway.
Well, no, I know, but I don't think we're getting closer to a solution. Is what I meant to say.
The thing is that, you know, chapter one is talking about, well, we have about $7 million, but our tax base probably went from 200 million to $1.5 million too. So it's, if you start looking at it from a percentage standpoint, it's probably about the same as it's always been for the last, you know, 20 years.
Building concerns, but
I don't think you have the data to support that, but
I'm just,
I don't think you have the data to support that.
Am I accurate?
I'm not getting the data to support that.
Am I accurate in saying that the property tax valuation of the city of Midland in the last 5 years has increased by $5 billion?
$5 billion?
That'd be probably accurate.
Yeah,
pretty close.
I'd say so. And
I
I
mean,
don't
I
think
got on the
out
council,
there
we
for
were
the next
definitely under a billion.
for the next 15 months, it's going to continue. Then it's the same rate of stagnation.
So that's the reason, I guarantee as a percentage, it's gonna be about the same.
Pam, has the property tax levy, you know, it was 1.55, then we changed, now we reaffirmed our AAA rating, now it was 1.29 cents. At the December meeting, at this level of debt, is that stayed the same?
I would say at this point that stayed the same.
Okay.
If you wait and issue debt in August, things may change, interest may change.
And so with the increases, let's say the Fed continues their quarter increase every quarter.
For 20 years be insignificant, really.
It would be significant?
It would be insignificant
Insignificant,
over
okay.
20 years.
I'd like to go back to something that Councilman Sparks indicated. I think that the solution here is to find a happy medium between debt that we might potentially issue and what might be left in 4B or unappropriated fund balance. And if we can come up with a way that these projects can be funded using those three things, thus lowering the potential debt that we issue, I think that is where the solution might potentially be.
And let me make, and staff fully understands the dilemma. This list that we presented to you was probably double that we cut back on because we knew that there's only so much of a tolerance level to issue that debt. So it would be hard for staff to go up and say we rank these 1, 2, 3, and 4 because I can go ask one department head what's their priority, and they're going to say, well, whatever it is that you have on the list is my priority. One thing that you could do, and again, staff was a little reluctant to dip into the unappropriated fund balance because we didn't know what the rating agencies were going to do, so we were wanting to keep that 40%. But if you all and staff would be comfortable, if you all would be comfortable with using 10 million of the unappropriated, you could cut that if you issued that total amount of the 22,400,000. Use 10 million of it out of unappropriated, so your issuance would be 12,400,000 is an option. See what the 4B 4B issue does.
Sales tax does.
Well, and remember that
That's the reason if you-
we've still got to pay $3 million a year for maintenance out here.
Right.
So we've got to always keep the fact that.
I would feel uncomfortable using any of that for
Yeah.
next year. You know what, depends, Jeff, if you use depreciation as part of your, capital expenses out there, depreciation is probably the real number as the stadium ages, so it probably could be closer to 3. Rather than 2.
Well, I can say,
I'm just saying that you know, I guess all those things could be paid different ways, that's true. For whatever reason, I go back to the, you know, to the issuance of this debt amount, and if it's worded broadly enough, I mean, if we wanted to pull unappropriated fund balance money out, we could at a later date. And if you could use it like like for roads, for instance, or for drainage, if we decided that, well, you know, we can pay for that this way later, it just gives us maybe some flexibility to be able to go, okay, even though we had this in here for X, you know, we can pay for it from this account over here, but we still have this, and we can use it for some other project that's definitely needed in the city too. I just get uncomfortable. We start pulling money from different funds to fund something now and really tie our hands behind our back before we know what's going to happen. With our economy, with the 4B, whatever it is.
I say we prioritize what's needed and go after that with the bond. That's what we need to do. And everything else.
Well, but the staff is saying this is a priority. I mean, are you really comfortable to say, I, Jerry Morales, think that the staff has come up with this as priorities, and we've been doing this for years. They've pared this back from things that probably were 4 times as much. And now we're going to sit there, yeah, you know, I mean, the police training and center renovation, we probably don't need to do that. Let's scratch that. The right-of-way acquisition, we don't need more right-of-way acquisition for a couple of years. Let's just scratch that. Wadley design, okay, I think I'm okay with scratching that. I mean, how do we do that?
And it does tell on what you're saying, I think I'm going right back to what Jordan just said. This is a scale back. And well, that's true, but let me get to my point, which is that at the retreat, we talked specifically about quality of life and making Midland a world-class city. And council has, staff has pared back these requests. I'm just a little bit nervous about capital improvement projects bottlenecking and stacking up, and we get to a point where we've got so much that we have to do and address that it really becomes a
That's a possibility.
Or on the flip side, that if it's delayed just a little bit, and that the economy does slow down, that there's realized savings in there because there's more bids, there's more competition, there's people hungry to get jobs. There's 4B. You know, there's a difference. You know, we could say this list was 4 times higher. There's a difference between needs and wants. You know, I want a Bentley. I don't need one. I have a pickup. Oh, I'm sure there's some we did. But it goes back and forth. I know this list probably got us $60–70 million of what we wanted, and I know that Courtney and his staff pulled back of maybe what we need. But we have no idea what's going to happen. But if the current trend does happen, that's not good.
But in 2009, we didn't know either, and we still issued that.
I know. I was not on council then. I voted against it too. I do not think that this is like.
We wouldn't have.
But there's a big difference between 2009 and today.
The downturn.
But you know what? We did not know the uncertainty in 2009. We were still uncertain.
$58.50.
Well, we dipped into the 30s.
You also built production growth.
We dipped into the 30s for about 2 weeks. We've been below 30 for a month.
But we also thought the economy of the world was growing in 2009.
That was financial. This one's different.
This is supply.
And this one's quite a bit different. And if you want to read up on it, this one's different, Scott.
Well, I know. There's for every guy that says it's going to stay. For every person that says it's going to stay, their oil's going to stay in the 30s or dip in the 20s. There's a guy out there that says it's going to go $70 tomorrow. Boom Pickens being one.
I've never trusted Boom Pickens' prediction for anything.
You know what? All I'm saying is for every person that says it's never going to change and this is the end of the world, there's a person out there that says that's absolutely.
And I don't think he's
So nobody up here on this dice knows exactly what's going to happen.
Of course not.
But we have been through dips and doozies and everything else over the course of the last 25, 30 years. The city's always issued debt, and we've always done responsibly.
Well,
this is the reason why the financial director does this the way that she does, because she makes sure that any matter what direction you go. Because like I said earlier, saying a mass exodus or property values just completely plummeting, I don't see what you're.
Pam, if property valuations stay at 11.4 billion like they were this last budget cycle, and this my interpretation, to pay for this debt, we would have to increase the tax rate. If the effective, what we have right now stayed the same, we would have to pay by raising taxes 1.29 cents. Is that correct?
That's assuming that you held expenses at the same level.
Yes.
If you cut expenses in the general, if you held it at the 108 million that we have now, then yes, you would have to increase because you'll have more money you'll have to output.
Okay.
But if you cut general fund balance or general fund expenses to 100 million, then no, you may not have to increase the entire rate.
But what if we had to cut those expenditures just because of the third leg of the revenue stream, the sales tax is so low?
Well, that's why my job is so fun.
Yeah.
So how much, tell me the time frame again that we need to get close to a decision?
There really is no
Isn't?
time frame.
Okay.
We traditionally issue, we have traditionally issued the notices and then ultimately the debt at the first of the year because you get a little bit better rate at the first of the year. But you can issue any
Well,
time that you want
let's
to.
give this a little more time with watching the economy, continue asking your questions, vetting this out. But I think if we're going to move forward, maybe get back with Courtney on a time when you'd like to reach an agreement on.
When will we know the December numbers in February?
We'll get it the first full week of February. I don't know what that date is.
So that, I think that is helpful.
We'll know on that Wednesday.
Yes.
Or Friday.
John.
I was just going to say, my comment is that I'm really glad to, I was going to be nervous last council session, but I thought that the Washington Park was going to be asked, and so I'm really glad to hear council say that they do support Washington.
Yes.
So, thank you very much, because that takes a little off my chest as well as my constituents.
Okay.
You know, we toured Washington Park together. If any two people know the dire need to replace that, it started to become a set. I agree with you. That was never my intention at all.
Well, but in these conversations, I mean, are we to say that that's any more important than some of these other projects?
That extra job, make that call.
And like I said, the only one I don't care about is the golf course because it's paid for by people that use it. It's not paid for by that world.
I just want to point out, you were talking about making it, to issue the bond, it has to be pretty concrete as far as where you're going to spend the money. Because if you tell me you're going to spend $2 million on street drainage, that's the only thing I can appropriate. Okay, I have to spend it on that. So while you have some movement between projects in the same category, I don't have the authority to move money between categories.
Okay.
I can't use street drainage money to do park and rec.
But it's not taxable specific.
Once you pass the bond and you say, this is how the city's going to spend the money. I just want to make that clear.
All right, good. Good discussion. Thank you all for your input. Thank you, Pam. There's more to come, I know. Item 44, consider a motion appointing a mayor pro tem.
I'd like to make a motion that Jerry Citizen be our new mayor pro tem.
I'll second that.
Councilman Bedford, thank you for your service as mayor pro tem.
I'm glad we passed this.
Just passing it down the line.
Councilman, you accept?
I accept. I will abstain from voting, even though that's kind of different to you. You can anyway, but I do.
Okay. We have a
Well, that's
motion.
true. I voted for myself to get this.
Motion second. There's no further discussion. Let's vote. Sorry. Congratulations. Looking forward to working. 45, consider motion making appointments to various boards and commissions. I don't think we have any.
Well,
We'll get,
the next, we need to talk about this. We've got some
Okay.
commissions that need to be reappointed.
so let's,
They serve already until we do that. We can wait
next meeting, bring all of your appointments so we can get it all cleaned up. By next meeting, all appointments next meeting. Thank you for being here. City Council, we appreciate you. Have a good week. Pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.101, the council will hold an executive session, which is closed to the public, to discuss the following matters as permitted under the following Texas Government Code sections. A, Section 551.087, deliberate economic development negotiations. A1, discuss business prospects the city seeks to have, locate, stay, or expand in or near the city of Midland, Texas, and discuss possible incentives.